All right, there's the name of both starters. For which guy? Kitchener? Yadian Martinez. Yeah.
Just call him Yadi.
Yeah, you can do. I wasn't sure. Some of them had like Nico as Nicholas, but he had it as Nico on his pronunciation guide. So.
Kyros? Is that Nico? Is it Kyros?
Kairos.
Kairos. Okay. Sounds very Greek.
It does. It does. Yeah. So it's Yosuke Fuji, Jordan Mandalay, Yosvani Penalve, Junior Ibarra, Nico Kairos, Klaus Appelvik.
I remember Klaus. It's Vic because when I coached him, it was Vich.
I don't know. They had it as Vic on the guide.
Okay, fair enough.
Charlie Towers, Trent Lawson, Jamie Cabral.
He's very German. I think his family are German.
Yep. All right. 1 minute, right? We might start during the anthem. That sucks. Let's try to avoid that.
Yeah, that would be great if we weren't talking over the anthem.
It's going to be running late if we got lots of There it is. I assume.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm really excited for. And coming to you live from Arnold Anderson Stadium in Brantford, Ontario. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to IBL Baseball here as the Brantford Red Sox take on the visiting Kitchener Panthers, making the trip down Highway 24 for a matchup that is going to be an excellent way to spend a Father's Day for those in attendance and hopefully those of you watching us at home. It's Marshall Crocker back on the call. I should be joining you the rest of the season, rest of the way, but we thank Carlos Verde for subbing in for me on Tuesday nights. We are also joined today by Brian Hawley, a former coach, former baseball extraordinaire. He knows the Kitchener Panthers, but he knows a lot more. Brian, welcome to the broadcast.
Well, thanks very much, Marshall. I'm very happy to be here. Yeah, it's been a long road for me over my 50 or so years in this game. I spent some time playing in the league when it was back before it was the IBL, when it was a senior inter-county league in Stratford, when they still had a team with the Hillers. I coached for a while with the Kitchener Panthers. I umpired in the league for about 8 years as well, and I've been coaching pretty much every level other than that along the way.
You got a lot of different hats you can wear. You got a lot of different knowledge you can pass on to us. We are going to take great advantage of that today. A lot of fathers in attendance today for the Father's Day game. Players on the team got their dads watching, including Brantford starter Aiden Armitage. But first, I want to start with our players to watch. I want to start with some guys that we can keep an eye on. Maybe new fans to the team can kind of watch through a lens of a certain player. We're going to start with you, Brian. You got a guy you want to keep an eye on for Kitchener.
Yeah, Kitchener's catcher, Junior Ibarra, who is one of my favorite people. We had a very close relationship when I was with the organization. He's a really interesting story. I'll get into it a little bit later on when we got some more time, but he defected from Cuba. When I met him, it's his first time outside of the country, gave us a really good year. And so he ended up staying here in Canada, and now he's trying to get his family up. So like I say, I'll go into that a little bit. On the baseball field, though, it's a completely different story. This man is one of the best defensive catchers that I have ever coached in my lifetime. He is a good hitter, has a lot of pop in his bat. He won't hit for a high average, but he has got a lot of pop. He hit some big home runs for us a couple of years ago. He also is, like I said, one of the best defensive catchers that I've ever been associated with. His ability to throw behind runners without tipping that off is very dangerous, and that's something we're going to keep an eye on today. He calls an excellent game. He's very good at framing, and when we get into talking about Yadier Martinez, their pitcher, they have a very good relationship. They're both from Cuba. They've been together for a few years, and they know each other very, very well.
Well, as we just saw the fathers and sons out there for the Brantford Red Sox taking a photo here. Awesome to see the dads coming out to support their sons, some of whom will be playing, some of whom may get action off the bench. I want to talk about Max Schmarter, and it's not often that the player to watch is a guy hitting ninth in the lineup, but the reason Schmarter is so valuable, the reason he's been the full season shortstop for this team, is his twitchiness and how electric he can be on defense. He's had a couple errors the last couple games, is part of why I want to focus on him, because I think we can both agree, Brian, today is going to be a lot about keeping the game in front of you, keeping it simple, limiting the defensive errors, and that's something both teams have struggled with. I think Schmarter, if he can get that bat, if he can get that average up towards the Mendoza line, hasn't hit super well this year, but he's starting to find it a little bit. If he can cut that league-leading strikeout total down and keep that defensive value where it is, I think he'll be valuable the rest of the way. But I especially think if he can make a few clutch plays on defense today, he may be one that keeps this game close, and that might be all Brantford needs.
Well, yeah, I watched him yesterday in the Guelph game on the stream there, and he had a couple of really good at-bats, came up with a big RBI single yesterday later on in the game, which was a big run for the team when it was still a 3-1 ball game. And so, yes, defensively, he's very smooth. He's got a strong arm. He's got great range. Just needs to put bat to ball, a little more contact. When he starts putting contact into play a little more often, he's going to have a much better time of it.
Looking to the men on the mound today, going to be starting for both teams. We've got Yadier Martinez making his appearance today for the Kitchener Panthers. He's got a 3.75 ERA on the year, 3-2 record, 29 strikeouts to only 6 walks. Awesome efficiency there for him. 24 innings pitched, 24 hits, nice even number. And the Cuban import you are well familiar with, Brian.
Absolutely. He is a lot of fun to watch out there. He is a bundle of energy. He's not a real power guy. He's sneaky quick, but he's got a great changeup and really likes to use it, and it's deadly. He loves to pitch to contact. He generally doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, but he loves to pitch to contact, and he'll get a lot of soft contact off that changeup if he's throwing it in right spots.
And on the other side for Brantford, we're going to see somewhat of a kind of a half bullpen game today. I know there's been a lot of talk here on the broadcast about the rotating Brantford Red Sox half rotation, kind of bullpen games. Pedro de Los Santos has been coming in long relief a lot of the season. So today we're going to see Aiden Armitage taking the mound here for the Brantford Red Sox. 3.48 ERA, only one full game. He was designated for a loss, so 0-1 record, 9 strikeouts, 4 walks, 9 hits in 10 and a third innings. So has been a guy that's been great in limiting hits, limiting runs in the games he's played, but we've only seen that one real solid overall starting performance. He's a guy that if he's able to keep the good performances up in the later innings, kind of limit the 5th and 6th inning pitching troubles this Red Sox team has had all season, he could work himself into a starting role on a team that really is trying to find guys at that spot. I think Armitage, if you're not Connor Irvin, who pitched exceptionally yesterday, and you're going up against a great pitcher like Martinez, I think Armitage is a guy Red Sox fans will like to see on the mound.
Well, he's a guy that they're going to have to keep an eye on, not to let him go too long in the game. Make sure that he gets, you get maximum usage out of him. For him, it's going to be important to throw strikes and get as deep as he can into the game because he's not, like you said, he's not a guy who's going to pitch 7 innings.
Rare that we get a chance to. We're going to take a break here for the national anthem. We'll be back in just a moment. And there we go. Awesome to get to take a break today, to get a chance to actually do the national anthem in earnest here on the broadcast. Welcome back. Let's get ready for our first inning of work here. Going to be Armitage on the mound, as previously mentioned. And the Kitchener Panthers offense will make their debut today. Maybe we'll take a chance to run through the starting lineup here for your Kitchener Panthers. Looking through the order here, it's going to be a very, very talented, really top 5 of the order, down to a little bit more question marks towards the bottom. Starting off, we got Yasuke Fuji at third. The third baseman is going to be hitting first, the Mission BC native. Jordan Mandale, the 39-year-old from Cuba, is going to be hitting second. Yosvani Panalve, the center fielder, also a Cuban import. He's 32, and he's hitting third today. And the all-important fourth spot in the order, it's the man we talked about as your player to watch for Kitchener, Junior Ibarra, the catcher. We got Nico Kairos, the right fielder from Kingston, Ontario, hitting fifth today. Klaus Appelvik is going to be your first baseman from Kitchener, Ontario. Charlie Towers, Toronto, Ontario native, second baseman is going to be hitting seventh. Trent Lawson, the Calgary Albertan, he is hitting DH today. He is at batting .344 on the season, so he's going to be a potential threat there in the 8th spot. Finally, Jamie Cabral, Vaughan, Ontario native, will be hitting bottom of the order, and they'll be taking on Armitage, who, as we talked about, you know, he's a relief arm partially in name alone. I think as far as Brantford goes, hit limiting, run limiting. He's probably the second or third guy there on the ledger. But this Kitchener offense, as you well know, Brian, a lot of pop, a lot of power. He's a guy that, you know, if he gets rocked and he gets a little bit behind early, you don't really have a break anywhere in the lineup.
No, you don't. You're absolutely right, Marshall. And so what he's going to have to do is you know, the old line that we used, if I put my coaching hat on, get ahead, stay ahead. Start off with strikes. Mix it up a little bit. Try not to be too consistent, throwing fastballs all the time. He's got some good off-speed stuff, a tight little slider. He just showed us there in the warm-up. And so it's a matter of location, location, location. Get on the edge of the plate, get ahead of the count, get them back and not so aggressive, and you should be able to manage this lineup fairly well.
So Fuji is going to start us here at third base. And just a reminder for those of you, Kitchener Panthers coming off an 8-1 loss last game against the London Majors, and then a 23-2 loss against the absolute wagon that is the Welland Jackfish. That's one that Brantford's had a couple big score losses. I think those top teams right now, Brian, in the league, just the Wellands, the Londons of the world, those top offenses, once they get rolling, they just don't stop. And both of these teams are going to try to emulate that the rest of the year.
Well, Welland's like that every year. And, of course, Roop down in London, he's really loaded up the top half of his lineup, you know, amid rumors going on there, what's going on with the ownership group and what have you. So he's really loaded up the top half of his lineup, and they look really good. And they're, in fact, the only ones, if I recall correctly, to beat Welland this year.
That's
I
correct.
think they did that earlier this week. And so the thing you need to know about the IBL, though, is that what happens in June isn't necessarily going to happen in August for two reasons. First of all, guys are still coming in. They're still bringing in imports. They're still bringing in guys from U.S. colleges, guys that need a break. And then at the end of the season, there's guys that are lost from the lineup that have to go back down south to school.
Right. Well, here we go. Yosuke Fuji batting .371 on the season. 13 hits, 10 runs. He's hit 7 RBIs, 12 strikeouts to 3 walks ratio, and 35 at-bats this year. And as we see the first pitch of the game from Armitage, that one low in the dirt. Going to go 1-0, and don't forget, Fuji, 5 home runs, one of the best in the league, only recently overtaken by Welland's Robert Mullen there, top of the league in that one.
And he's really lighting it up down in Welland, isn't he?
Oh, just an exceptional top of the lineup for the Jackfish. Second pitch just finds the zone on the outside, 1-1 count.
That's a good pitch for Armitage, that two-seamer that gets a good late break and really bites the outside of the plate.
So Fuji here, Mondelez coming up next. A lot of really good power threats here at the beginning of the order for the Panthers. That one finds its way back in on the plate as well. A little bit of horizontal movement, just enough to get him once again, 1-2 count. The 1-2. That one didn't quite find the plate, a little too much movement, and Fuji not looking to swing at anything too high risk here. So the Kitchener third baseman, 2-2 count. Armitage kicks and deals. That one again, same spot, just trying to find a spot there on the outside. And Fuji making him work for it. First full count of the day here for Armitage. Going to try to limit these counts as a reliever starting. Want to keep those pitch counts low. That's what he does on 3-2. That one right down the plate, right past the bat, swinging strikeout. And Armitage is on the board against Fuji.
Threw a slider up on a 3-2 pitch. It's always, you know, that's the latest thing now, is pitching backwards. Usually with a 3-2 count back in the day, it was nothing but fastballs. But a nice slider there. He tried to get Fuji to chase after a couple of two-seamers on the outside, brought it back to full count. A nice high slider, got him swinging.
Hitting second in the order, the Cuban threat, the shortstop, 39-year-old Yordan Mondelez, hitting .349 this year. He's got 15 hits. He's got 5 strikeout to 3 walk ratio. That one low in the dirt for Armitage, going to go 1-0. And he's also a stolen base threat as well. Really good speed despite being one of the veteran players on this team. 4 stolen bases thus far on the season. Good for 8 scored runs.
Love to see the older fellas that can still steal bases.
Here's Armitage on the 1-0. That one low outside the other way. Really trying to work that outside of the zone with a little bit of movement here early. 2-0 count here. Looks like Kitchener really taking their time, being patient here with the swing discipline. That one wide off the plate here as well, making it easy early on for Mondelez. Lets 3 go by, 3-0 count.
When he throws that slider hard, it almost looks like a cutter there. Just a little bit of movement to our right to the first base side of the plate. Just pulled it a little bit.
Here comes the 3-0. That one swung on, finally working the count back his way. Armitage makes it 3-1. I think Mondelez was expecting something down the middle of the plate there. Couldn't quite catch up to it.
Clearly had the green light on 3-0 there, and he sold out to it.
Got Cassidy Watt back catching today as he has most of the season. We had Andrew Savage, the new face here in Brantford, subbing in for him yesterday, but Watt back behind the plate. The 3-1. Oh, inside on the elbow. It was going to be a walk anyway, but he'll take it as an HBP. That one gets him right on the inside, and he hadn't really tried the inside yet on a righty hitter. Didn't quite find his spot there, did Armitage.
And that was the double whammy where he got a piece of the batter, and then the deflection got a piece of Watt behind the plate as well. To your point, Watt and Savage switching. The Savage caught yesterday, and Watt played third base up in Guelph. They both had good games with the bat, especially Savage, 3 hits. And so they switch it out today, day game after a day game.
Not too bad his heels. Vani Penalve here, one of the elite hitters on this Kitchener team, hitting almost 400. 3 home runs on the season with 17 hits, 7 runs, 11 RBIs. That one just low and inside, finds the zone. First strike here for Armitage. It's kind of batter that you'd like to get that pitcher's count here early on. The Havana, Cuba native here in Penalve, 32 years old. That one low and outside for ball 1. 1-1 here.
Be interesting to watch out at first base. As we know, Mondelez is a stolen base threat. He doesn't really look like he's focusing too hard there. He's pretty quick to the plate, Armitage.
Oh, there we go. First pick, a little quick pickoff attempt. Didn't look like too much of a leadoff for Mondelez, but just trying to keep him honest here. The Brantford pitchers have had quite a bit of trouble there controlling the runners behind them. There's been quite a few allowed steals, but Cassidy Watt, great pop time. He's been doing his very best defensively to limit those as best he can. 1-1. That one right down Main Street. Going to find himself in a 1-2 count here. These top hitters, they're letting Armitage try the zone, and he is finding pay dirt here early.
Nice slider there, and he's doing a nice job of mixing up his timing on the release of the pitch to make sure the base runner can't get a good timing on him.
That one's outside on 1-2, going to go an even 2-2 count. And Mondelez's got Nick Burdett there, partially interim manager for some of the season. He's swapped duties here a couple times throughout the year, but he's on first base, keeping an eye on Mondelez, and we'll go through your Brantford defense here in just a few moments. Penalve setting up for the 2-2. Runner goes, Mondelez. Look at a free pass there, as I think they're going to call it a it a strike. It took a moment to discuss that, but home plate umpire Steve Knight is going to call that one a strike on Penalve.
Yep, swinging strike, and with less than 2 out and runner on first, the batter is out, and so the runner moves up.
It's a bit of a win-loss there. Mondelez now on second base, going to cause even more trouble for Armitage. And here comes Junior Ibarra, man, that we've talked about, Brian, you're well familiar with, and he'll make his first cuts today.
Yeah, he slimmed down from when he played for me a couple of years ago. He's got himself into real good shape now. He's been in the gym, I know, and I really like his swing. First
pitch from Armitage, that one low and outside for ball 1. And Ibarra here hitting .267 on the season, 12 hits, 4 earned runs, and 7 RBIs. Only 1 homer, but a 4 walk to 1 strikeout ratio. Really solid from a catcher, and again, that .267, not too bad for a guy with such high defensive upside.
Absolutely, and he'll put the ball in play most of the time.
Here it comes, good movement there. That one well struck, though, into the left field area.
Can of coin.
Not carrying quite enough. Paulos will get under it. And he'll retire your 3rd out of the inning. So we'll take a look at the Brantford defense here in the 2nd inning, now that Paulos has retired this one early. And we'll welcome up your Brantford offense for the first time today. Going to be led off by Ethan Paulos, as he's done from the center field position most of the last couple games. But we have a moment, so let's look at your Kitchener defense before we get into your Brantford lineup. Defensively for Kitchener, it's going to be a Going to be an interesting look, and again, I got a lot of guys with high offensive upside. We'll have to see how they do defensively. Junior Ibarra, the back catch here, going to be catching from Yadian Martinez, your starting pitcher today. The infield's going to be Klaus Appelvik at first base, Charlie Towers at second. The all-important shortstop position filled by veteran Jordan Mandalay. Third base, we got Yosuke Fuji. He led off earlier in this one. Outfield, left field, you got Jamie Cabral. Center field, you got the Cuban Josvani Penalve. And then right field, you have Mr. Nico Kairos, the Kingston, Ontario native, and that is your defense for the Kitchener Panthers. And then on offense for the Brantford Red Sox, let's take a look at your team lineup. Starting off today, as we mentioned, the man who just made that catch in the first inning, Ethan Paulo is going to be starting us off. He's hitting exceptionally well this year. Ren Takioka has been a consistent threat to pitchers to get contact, to get walks, whatever he needs to do, he gets on base well. He's hitting second today. Lucas Bateman, that's a very talented second baseman. He's been awesome out there with the bat this season. He's hitting third, and then the all-important fourth spot for Christian Ortega, who's really turned his season around offensively. He's got Cassidy Watt behind him, a guy not hitting well for average, but again, has that power upside. He's going to be hitting from the fifth spot as back catch today. Nick Burdett is going to be hitting sixth. Then we got Andrew Savage making his second appearance today in the seventh spot. 3 for 4 yesterday in his debut against Guelph. Then Matt Torres will hit eighth. He's rotated with Brody Black in the right field spot. He'll get the call today. And the player to watch for Brantford, Max Schmarter, is going to be hitting ninth today. His father, Eric Schmarter, in attendance today. Let's see if Max can put on a show for his dad here on Father's Day. Yadian Martinez facing Ethan Paulos for the first time. Great pitcher, great hitter. Let's see what he deals to Paulos here. Lancaster native hitting .375 on the young season. Called first strike here for Mr. Ethan Paulos.
Yeah, Yadi's a very smart pitcher. He likes to mix it up. He mixes up his delivery, mixes up his timing. He's got a lot of pitches to throw.
That one struck off foul into the third base area. It's going to land just in the path of a dog out there in the festivities area. So really 0-2 count here for Paulos. Martinez right down Main Street, and a swing strike for Paulos early on here. Already 3 strikes in the first inning for the two pitchers combined. Brantford been doing a pretty good job not to strike out too much early in the games this season. Not much you could do there. Martinez's stuff looking solid.
Yeah, nice finishing pitch there. He gets some sink to that fastball sometimes. He gets the same sink to that changeup as well. He's got a nice tight slider, two-seamer. Like I say, he could throw 4 or 5 different pitches and throw variations of pitches as well. Very animated on the mound.
Let's see what he gives to Takioka. Ren Takioka, the left fielder, making his debut here. That one right down the middle, and Takioka will let it go by. Takioka now played in a couple more games than last we saw him. .345 average, 10 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks to 5 strikeouts. That one wide and outside.
Sorry, Marshall. Takioka, he is a nightmare on the bases for opposing catchers, so it'll be a very interesting matchup between he and Ibarra if he gets on.
That one again, right down the middle. He's really challenging him there horizontally. Vertically seeing a little bit of movement there, and Takioka taking exception. Finds himself in a 1-2 count. Martinez. That one was close. Steve Knight, home plate umpire, not going to give it to him. Even 2-2 count here for Takioka. He's got Bateman on deck after him. Bateman hitting exceptionally well this year. Takioka, that one sent streaking foul off the grandstands here at Arnold Anderson Stadium. We'll keep the count alive at 2-2.
We see that Takioka likes to get right up on the plate there. You see how close he is. It's tough. You tend to want to attack the inside pitch for those guys. That is generally where they like it, though.
That one there, low and outside. We'll go to a full count here for Takioka, making Martinez work for it, and a couple of fans here in attendance taking exception to that one. Great weather today, about 21, 22 degrees. A little bit of wind periodically here and there, but shouldn't be too tough for the fielders today. Got some nice overcast as well, so should be good visibility defensively for this one.
Wind blowing out a little bit to left center field. So anybody gets one up in the wind stream there, that big old maple tree that everybody loves to target in left center there.
Bit of a chat, taking a quick moment here just to get our bearings. As Takioka, like you're saying, really crowding the plate. Going to test Martinez here on 3-2. That one well struck. Going to find its way down. Should fall into the hole between the second baseman and the right fielder, Takioka. He was .345 coming in. He's on base for the first hit of the day. And the Brantford Red Sox offense doesn't often get kicked off here in the home efforts in the first couple innings, but Takioka will give Bateman something to work with here as he hits third.
So this is really interesting now where we have an elite base runner on first base, an elite catcher behind the mound. We'll see how quickly Martinez can get to the plate on his set position delivery. And we'll also keep in mind, too, that he loves to back pick Ibarra. And so, especially with a right-handed batter up, it opens up a back pick to first base.
Big leadoff here for Takioka. Bateman's swinging miss. Is that one a little bit of nice movement there at the end to find its way off the plate. Strike one. Bateman now going to be followed up by the DH, Christian Ortega, hitting fourth in the lineup today.
Wouldn't surprise me if Brantford put a play on here.
Here's the 0-1 from Martinez. Gonna let that one go by, but Steve Knight will give it to Martinez. 0-2 count here early for Bateman. We were in an 0-2 for Takioka before he worked that count back to full and eventually had that blooper into right field. Martinez with the 0-2. He'll try the pick attempt, but Takioka quickly scampers back to first base. Nice slide. Didn't give him much to work with there. Bateman will reset here. The 0-2. Takioka goes. Swinging strike. Gets there in time, but no tag, says the umpire. That one will be a stolen base for Takioka. Should go down as his, I believe, fourth on the young season.
A perfect pitch to run on, a curveball in the dirt. It worked out well at the plate for Martinez where he got the strikeout, but it was not the greatest pitch to try and throw a runner out for Ibarra as he had to short hop it. So 2 out now, and you got a runner in scoring position, especially one with good wheels. And Ortega, their best hitter up. This is a really interesting matchup as well between he and Martinez.
Kind of a mirrored first inning here. 2 strikeouts for the pitchers, but runner getting on base in both innings. Here's Christian Ortega, 353 this year. Really good power. He's had 9 RBIs and 18 hits. Wide off the plate. Ortega going to get himself in a 1-0 count early. And Takioka, still a little bit of movement there out there in second.
And with 2 out, Takioka will be going on in contact, and so it'll be really tough to throw him out on any base hit to the outfield.
Christian Ortega, the only player to make the lineup in every game this year for Brantford. Now he's got a 2-0 count to work with, and as we mentioned, the very speedy Takioka there in scoring position. 11 strikeouts to 3 walks, the ratio this year for Ortega.
You seem to be being very careful with Ortega here.
Now we got Cassidy Watt, the back catch. Warming up in the 5th spot. That one struck. It's going to find its way over the fence. Going to go foul. 2-1 count now for Ortega. Really good turnout here live at Arnold Anderson. All the Brantford fans making the trip down. A lot of Kitchener fans down Highway 24, but here for some awesome Sunday action. Nothing better than Sunday IBL baseball, especially on a day as nice as this one. 2-1 here from Martinez. That one back in the dirt, having trouble. He seemed to have his placement quite solid there against the righties on the outside of the plate. Starting to lose it a little bit now, trying to test that slider.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to want to come inside at all to Ortega, which is not a surprise with the talent that he has. Like I say, I'd be surprised to see him come inside with a 3-1 pitch here.
Martinez right down the middle, a little bit of break at the end, and Ortega will find himself in the same full count Takioka did. We'll see if he can execute just the same.
Ortega may have thought that pitch was a little bit low. It did look a little low, but of course we can't tell from up here. So.
Well, Steve Knight will give it to Martinez. Full count here. That one well struck by Ortega. Right fielder ranging out for it. It'll come down, goes by him. Takioka will score. Ortega to second. Should get the stop sign. He does. Christian Ortega on a full count, just like Takioka. RBI double. And the DH has Brantford on the board.
A real nice piece of hitting there by Ortega. There was a borderline pitch on the outside with 2 strikes too close to take. He just hit the ball where it was pitched and shot it into right field there. And fortunately, even though the wind was kind of blowing it back toward the outfielder, was not able to get underneath it. So the good news was for Kitchener anyways, the fact that it got by him. It was a bit of a pop-up, so it didn't have a lot of velo on it, so he was able to limit him to a double. So we'll see if Cassidy Watt can follow up with another 2-out base hit. Those are the kind of hits that win ball games.
45 at-bats, 156 average this year. So big sample, not a ton of success, but power upside. That first one a little too low, says Steve Knight, home plate umpire. Going to go to 1-0 for Watt. And Nico Cairo's there in that last play in the outfield. Looked like that just a bad first step. Couldn't quite track it down and get under it. But like you said, limited the damage there, getting that throw into second. Oh, nails him right in the right arm. That one never had a chance at the plate. Martinez going to have to kind of recenter here, and now he's got runners on first and second.
A little bit quick on the delivery there. I think he was trying to muscle up on a fastball, and his arm kind of fell behind and went arm side on him. And with a two-seamer, it rides right into you, and you got nowhere to go. So it's going to take Watt a little bit to get the feeling back in that arm. He's shaking it out now. That's his, looks like his glove hand arm. So that's helpful. You always worry about a catcher getting hit in their throwing arm because he's so busy during the day. So a real opportunity here for Burdette to open this game up early.
Part-time hitter, part-time manager. He doesn't tend to have runners. That one swing and a miss for Burdette, 0-1, but not a guy that tends to have a lot of runners in scoring position when he hits in games this year. Tends to hit late in lineups, and they just haven't given him much to work with. Now he's got two gentlemen standing there in front of him in the order. Let's see what Burdette can do. A little bit of a struggle with the stick this year. 10 strikeouts, 3 walks, and less than 100. That one in the dirt, though. Even count here for Burdette.
Well, Nick Burdette is a veteran player. He knows his swing. He'll bring it. We know that he's going to bring it up and be a more productive player as the season wears on.
He understands these big moments early in games. He'll want to get on the board in this one. The 1-1. That one wide off the plate as well.
Good take there.
Yeah, great take. Martinez, something about that pitch off the outside. He's trying something that doesn't have a ton of movement, kind of a borderline fastball, but really testing hitters low, I'm finding here early. 2-1 here for Burdette. That one just inside. I think some of the home fans here didn't agree with Steve Knight on that one, but 2-2, 2 outs, and if Burdette's able to get on base, he's got Andrew Savage making his second appearance of the season for Brantford up next in the batter's circle.
That's something that I referred to pregame in our player to watch there, that Ibarra is so good at framing pitches. He starts low and brings the glove up toward that low pitch.
That one going to be chopped right to the second base area. Should be a pretty textbook throw, and it is. That one will end the inning there for the Brantford Red Sox offense, but they get on the board. 3 hits in the inning. Martinez 2 strikeouts, but in the most crucial spots possible, did allow a little bit of contact there. We talked about some of the struggles there with discipline. Put him in some hitters' counts that he works his way out of, but you're going to want to see him work that back if you're a Kitchener Panthers fan next inning.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of movement on that two-seamer, so he's just going to have to get some feel for that now. So he can get that started on the plate. That's a dangerous pitch to a left-handed hitter because you have to throw it essentially kind of down the middle of the plate, and so it breaks to the black. But if you throw it too far inside, it's going to break right into the wheelhouse, and left-handed hitters are going to feast on that.
Well, as Aiden Armitage warms up, we'll be back in just a few moments here on Brantford Red Sox IBL Baseball. Whether you're watching us on YouTube, cable, we thank you for tuning in on Father's Day, and we'll see you in just a moment. And welcome back. Happy Father's Day, viewers, live on Brantford Red Sox IBL YouTube. Marshall Crocker alongside Brian Hawley back here as the Kitchener Panthers take on the Brantford Red Sox in Sunday IBL action. Next up to bat here as we return to the hitting side for the Kitchener Panthers, Nico Kairos, the right fielder. He'll make his first cuts today. .321 average on the season. That one right down the plate for Armitage. Going to go for strike one. Kairos looking to stay a little hesitant here early.
I think that's the third of 5 hitters he started off with a slider thus far. I really like that. I like the off-speed pitch to begin on. That get me over breaking ball.
Armitage on the 0-1, right back
Check
down
that.
the plate. Going to appeal to first, and a strike, says the first base umpire. That one is going to go an 0-2 here for Armitage. Kairos finds himself in a hole here early.
Yeah, pretty easy call for the umpire there.
That's Michael Guthrow, the first base umpire today. Chris Long out there on the third base line.
Everybody knows Longer. Oh, nice
0-2,
pitch.
strike three. 3 up, 3 down. Quick at bat there for Armitage, his third strikeout of the day.
3 straight sliders there, and no chance. Just, when you throw 2 in a row, you get them 0-2. You're thinking it's going to be a waste pitch when you caught the outside of the plate there. Just a fantastic pitch. It's important for a guy who is a relief pitcher to not mess around too much. I noticed in the first inning he got ahead 1-2, kind of played around with that outside two-seamer, brought it back to full count. The next at bat was a 3-ball count as well. So when you're not expecting to go deep, it's good to go right at hitters.
Klaus Applevik's going to watch that one off the plate. The first baseman hitting 6th in the order today. A local Kitchener kid playing for the Panthers, 24 years old, 222 average, just above the Mendoza line. Only 9 at-bats on the season, so we'll see what he brings with a small sample size to work off of. 1-0, that one, great movement to find its way back to the plate. The slider hits for Armitage.
Klaus is a great kid. I remember him. He was just first year out of Laurier University when I coached him a couple of years ago. Great kid, great manners. He had a cup of coffee with the German national team.
Oh, wow. On 1-1, that one struck out towards center field. Paulos tracking it down. Doesn't need much to get under that one, as Paulos will record the second out of the inning.
I noticed that Kitchener moved him into the infield. We had him primarily in right field. He was a part-time player as a rookie when we had him. They moved him into first base, which makes sense. He's a tall kid. He's about 6'2", 6'3", good reach. Nice to have a tall guy at first base to offset some errant throws.
Another 24-year-old infielder here for the Panthers. Charlie Towers hitting 7th today. 163 average, 43 at-bats this year. He's got 7 hits, 7 runs. Armitage. Test the zone again. That time it'll bite him. That ball will come down right in front of Paulos. It'll be a stand-up single for Charlie Towers and his very first pitch of the day.
Interesting that the first 2 hitters, he started off with sliders. He started Towers off with a fastball, got it up a little bit. Nothing wrong with an outside fastball. It's got to be below the belt because they're going to jump on that. Nice piece of hitting by Towers. Not known for his hitting, a really strong defensive player.
Yeah, Towers saw that strike all the way. Fastball right down Main Street. This is going to be Trent Lawson DHing today. Calgary, Alberta native, hitting 344 on the season in a pretty big sample size. He'll be a threat to watch. Good movement again. Finds its way back to the plate. Great location so far on Armitage's slider.
And back to the slider, yep. You got to really attack the bottom of this order. You can't mess around with it because we all know what happens when they get back to the top. They're so dangerous.
So Towers keeping Burdette company on first base. Here's the 0-1. Going to try the pick. Checking on Towers. He'll get back in pretty good time there. This Brantford defense, just to introduce you to the infield. It's going to be Burdette on first. Once again, it's going to be Bateman on second today. Andrew Savage making his second appearance of the season on the corner. The 0-1 inside. That's going to be the 1-1. Then you got Schmarter once again making his appearance in the shortstop position. He's been electric defensively this year. Outfield, it's one you've seen before. It's Takioka and Paulos, left and center respectively. But it's Matt Torzen making the start in right field today, where Brody Black has played most of the season. The 1-1. That one, pretty good movement. Watt thought he might have a little bit of action there from Charlie Towers on first base. Thinks better of it. And that'll be a 2-1.
Towers is taking a very big secondary lead after the fact, and so it wouldn't surprise me again, as I spoke to in the bottom of the first there, when you have a right-handed hitter, the back pick toward first base so the catcher doesn't have to throw out over the batter, Same thing over at third base. When you have a left-handed hitter, you're more likely to get the back pick there. The one thing to watch with Ibarra, we'll keep an eye on during the game, he's excellent at throwing to second on a back pick, which is a real rarity at this level.
Here's the 2-1 from Armitage. Movement again from Towers, but that ball struck out to Paulos' way. Gets under it quite well. Paulos, great first twitch there in the outfield. That'll end the inning for the Kitchener offense just as quickly as it started. First hit of the game here for the Panthers. Charlie Towers got on base, but Armitage didn't give them much else to work with after that. And cool day for Armitage today, getting the start, usually a reliever, but his father for Father's Day, Derek Armitage, in attendance to watch him. And 3 strikeouts early for Brantford's starting arm today. He's got to be pretty happy with his son's effort so far.
Yeah, a big smile on his face as he walked off the mound there because he knew he hung that slider. Fortunately for him, it got ripped, but right at the center fielder. And I'd like to take this opportunity, Marshall, to wish a happy Father's Day to my dad, Bob, who is obviously a real influence in my life. And he's got a birthday coming up a week from tomorrow, his 84th birthday. So I know he's going to be watching at least part of the game today. So I just want to give my dad, Bob, a shout out, and I say a happy Father's Day to him.
Awesome, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers watching. Happy birthday to Bob coming up. My dad, Marshall Crocker, the senior of junior. He and I share a name, so I hope he's watching today. We'll be out doing some fun stuff this evening. Glad I can call this game today for all of you, but going to get some dad time myself here this evening. So to all the dads watching, all the dads here live at Arnold Anderson Stadium, we thank you for supporting, for everything you've done to get us to this point. And I got a long career ahead of me, and Brian, you've done some awesome stuff so far, all around baseball, hockey, everything. So happy Father's Day to both of our dads, to Ryan's dad who's directing today, all of our crew, all of our cameramen. We thank you guys for taking the time out of your day here on Father's Day, and thank you to all the dads who will hopefully be seeing our crew later this evening. Back up comes Martinez. He's going to be pitching his second inning here, and the first 2 strikeouts, 2 hits allowed, a hit by pitch, and then the ground out to Burdett that ended the inning. And now we'll be seeing Andrew Savage making his second appearance on the young season for the Red Sox.
Had a big day yesterday in Guelph, 3 hits, big RBI single. Good-looking swing here, good-looking young hitter. They moved him up. I believe he was hitting in the 9-hole yesterday. They moved him up to the 7-hole. If he can keep hitting, he might find his way, keep moving up the order.
Still trying to find his spot on defense. He caught yesterday, playing third base today. That one outside for ball 1. Martinez not quite testing the zone quite as much as Armitage is on the other side here. I think he's trying to really test the hitter's ability to swing at movement, but Savage will take that for a ball. The 1-1.
He's got 2 versions of a fastball, Yachty. He got the 4-seamer that almost works like a cutter to stay away, and then he likes to follow it up with the 2-seamer that starts on the same angle but bends back in and backdoors you.
Oh, swinging strikes, swinging a miss there for Savage. And he'll find himself down now 1-2, and he's a guy that doesn't give much for the scouting report to work with for the Panthers. Again, 3 for 4 yesterday, but small sample size. 1 RBI in that 5-1 effort, though. Second win of the season for the Red Sox against the Royals. That one going to be taken for a ball, and he'll work himself into an even 2-2 count.
Martinez is really throwing that slider hard. I must admit, when I'm used to watching him pitch, he generally didn't put that much velo into his slider, but it's throwing it really hard today.
That one swinging strike on. That one's going to be number 3 today for Martinez. 3 for Armitage, 3 for Martinez, and he'll sit down Savage on 4 pitches there. Here comes Matty Torres in, the right fielder. Number 27 has batted fairly well this year, 257 average on the season. Pretty big sample size, 35 ABs, and 9 hits, 7 runs, 4 RBIs, but a 9-2 strikeout to walk ratio. He'll try to work that one down today. That one well off the plate this time for Martinez, ball 1.
I tell you what, if he's locating that hard slider right on the black to right-handed hitters, it's going to be tough to be able to pick that up and put it in play.
Oh, that one on the 1-0 is sent right up the middle. Good play by the second baseman, but off the plate, the throw is wide. And on base is Matty Torres for the first time today. The second baseman, Towers there, who had that hit in the top of the second, did a great job ranging to get that one. The throw was well off, though, for Klaus Appelvik.
Yeah, real tough play there for Towers. A nice play to just get flag the ball down, but he was around behind second base on the other side of the bag when he threw it as he was running away from first base. So a real tough play. Smart play by Appelvik to come off the base and secure the throw.
Finally in the order today for Brantford, the shortstop Max Schmarter. His dad Eric is in attendance today. First pitch well down the zone for strike 1. Martinez finally getting himself a good count to open it up.
There's that softer breaking pitch that I'm used to seeing there. So he's mixing that in now as well for a 4th pitch to give them a new look.
That one swung on by Schmarter, but missed. Now down 0-2 as just a quick throw to keep Torres in honest. He's sitting there at first base.
Yeah, as I mentioned, you gotta be on the ball as a base runner at all times because he'll throw at any time, anywhere.
The 0-2 here for Martinez. Schmarter thought about the swing there, but he'll check up on it. 1-2. Schmarter hitting 119 this year, 23 strikeouts to 4 walks. He's a guy that, again, great value on the defensive side, really needs to get his rhythm going on offense.
And to your point, as the player to watch today, want to see if we can put the ball in play a little more often.
That one well off the plate as well. The count's starting to work back the other way. 2-2 now for Schmarter. He'll be followed up by Paulos' second effort of the day if he's able to find good success here. Only 1 out in the inning so far for Brantford. Martinez, he'll get him to swing on that one, and looks like he
just got a piece of that one and fouled it off. Fortunately for Brantford, Ibarra wasn't able to squeeze it. It looks like he got it off the thumb of his glove hand there.
He's taking a look there. Yeah, it looks like he's in a little bit of discomfort, but he'll get the glove back on with relative speed. So 2-2 once again here for Schmarter. Torres still on first. Martinez. That one off the plate again. I think he did a quick check there, did Ibarra to Torreson, but full count for the third time today early on for Martinez. A lot of high leverage situations here early on for the Kitchener starter.
Absolutely. It's fun watching Ibarra because he also likes to set the defense as well. He's trying to bring the right fielder in a little bit closer.
On full
nice
count
pitch.
right down the middle. Schmarter lets it go by, and that'll be strikeout 24 on the season. Was nearly walk number 5.
That's that soft breaking ball that absolutely fooled Schmarter. Had no idea that was coming there. A really good 3-2 pitch. As I mentioned earlier, what we call pitching backwards. The olden times it was always a fastball on 3-2, but these days they like to throw the off-speed stuff as well, and that's a pitch that he just started using this half inning, that soft breaking ball.
So now 2 outs. Torres still on base. That'll go strike 1 for Paulos, the center fielder, hitting lefty, making his second appearance today.
So I don't know, with 2 out in the top of the order up, it's a good time to send a runner, try and get a stolen base.
Yeah, we'll see what Torreson does out there, but now he's got a 1-1 count for Ethan Paulos, so we'll see. Maybe let the count figure itself out. Martinez, we've seen, is pretty vigilant there with the first baseman, so we'll see what the runner does there with Paulos at the dish. That one goes low for ball 2. 2-1 count here for Martinez, and that pitch count through 2 innings a little higher than you'd imagine he would like. Certainly higher than pitchers who play against Brantford are used to.
Well, I think these Red Sox can hit, and so they'll put you through the ringer. They all have a lot of good at bats, and they're more of a challenge than people I think are getting used to.
Ibarra was set up right in the center of the plate, but that's where the ball ended up, just not where I think Martinez was hoping. 3-1 there on the low ball in the dirt. Chance to walk Paulos here. Paulos 6 walks, 6 strikeouts in the season. He's got good discipline. Torres in another leadoff first. That one swung on, barely chopped. I think chance for the double, didn't need it. Steps on second, and that will retire Torres in, and thus the side for the Brantford Red Sox. The offense pretty solid there. Again, we're seeing a little bit of momentum, at least testing pitchers. Morgan Martinez's count's up quite high, but not quite seeing the momentum. You need to blow a lead open here in the IBL, but 1-0 on the board early as we conclude the end of the second.
Good location on that last pitch, a high fastball right on the outside of the plate. You don't generally like it up that high. On a 3-1 count, he's been pitching backwards through the first 2 innings, decided to go with the hard fastball, and got the soft contact that he was looking for. So an easy play for them, and that's what I was talking about earlier when I put my coaching hat on. I have the top of the order up. I have a runner on first base in a close game. I like to send that runner, and if he gets thrown out, you still got the top of the order coming back up with a fresh count.
Right.
Now, I wouldn't have sent him there on a 3-1 count, obviously, because you're probably going to get a good pitch to hit there.
Right.
Having said that, like I said, if he was running there, the other side of that, if you're running, first of all, it makes the shortstop move over. Where he hit that ball was right in the hole where the shortstop was.
Right.
He would have to go and cover second base on the stolen base, and he may not have been able to stop and reverse direction and go back the ground ball. If he can, he's still got to throw across the diamond because there won't be a play at second base. So that's something to look forward to as the game progresses. Maybe make a little more happen. I like this batting lineup for Brantford. I'd like to see them a little more aggressive than they have been. It seems like Takioga's about the only one that's running. I'm a guy who likes action. I like to be aggressive on the base paths. You say to yourself, with a guy like Ibarra, who is an elite catcher behind the plate, fair enough. You don't want to do, run willy-nilly, but at the same time, in a situation like that, it's always about situational baseball at this level. 2-1 count, runner on first, top of the order up, not a bad time to try and make something happen.
Well, that's that great insight we would love to have here from you, Brian. And Carlos Faraday also doing an awesome job this year. Just great baseball minds, guys that have been around the sport for a long time. I hope the Brantford Red Sox fans at home are appreciating having that little extra view into the game. We're going to go right through the inning gap here as we get into the top of the third. I want to take a quick moment to take a look at the IBL standings, though, as just a reminder, Kitchener comes into today 7th in the league, 5-7 their record now. And the Brantford Red Sox, after picking up that win yesterday against the Guelph Royals, they're now 2-11. This game big for potentially a playoff spot late in the season.
You could think both teams are looking at this game as one they really want to win today.
Got to have it circled on the calendar as Cabral's going to put that one in play right away, but Schmarter gets under it, makes a pretty textbook catch, and Jamie Cabral, the left fielder, that was his first appearance today, but it'll end just as quickly as it started.
Well, and that was a hard pitch that was breaking to my right here, so it tells me cutter because his slider doesn't go that hard. And so I don't know Armitage as well as I would like to know him, but watching him for 2 1/3 innings thus far, I've really been impressed. I watched him Tuesday night on the stream, and he threw really well for 4 innings until they got to him a little bit in the 5th.
Thought about a bunt there, but right down Main Street for strike one. This back up again is Yosuke Fuji, the third baseman from Mission, British Columbia.
A lot of guys like to fake a bunt. They can get the third baseman in. If they're a slap hitter, it gives them a better chance to hit one past him.
That one's going to go just wide. Says home plate umpire Steve Knight. 1-1 here for Armitage, and that's Andrew Savage. Remember, playing third base today, his first time at the position. He is, like you said, Brian, quite a ways playing in towards kind of the shortstop area. That one low into the dirt for ball 2.
Well, it was interesting because Armitage gave him an outside fastball, which he would be able to slap at to get past the third baseman, but he just had it off the plate.
The 2-1 to Fuji. That one swung on quite well. Almost caught by by Nick Burdett, I should say, but he'll score. Stand-up single. He'll hold his horses there at first base. And Nick Burdett, though, had a great chance at that. One of the bigger guys on the team. Good effort by the
big man there. Marshall, sorry to interrupt, but we like to see a guy get dirty. And so it's an interesting situation now where you've got the leadoff runner on first base and a good hitter up, a high average hitter. So will they wait to see if Mandalay can make some solid contact, or will they be aggressive and try and make something happen here?
He's hitting 349 in a big sample size this year. Not the certainly far from the worst guy to have in this particular situation. First pitch, again, I think he thought about the bunt, but that one well up and inside on the hands, ball 1. And remember, Fuji now on first base as a base runner. If Nick Burdett had made that awesome catch that he was very close to doing, that would have been on IBL social media all week.
That would have been a highlight of the week candidate for sure.
So the 1-0 here for Fuji. Armitage's third inning of work. Going to take time, going to slow it down, and as we've talked about a lot of the season here, Brian, the Brantford Red Sox, not typically a team that takes time too much. They don't tend to control the at-bats in terms of timing. A lot of the elite teams like Wellington, London, they've done a lot of that this year.
Oh, he was leaning.
Pick up attempt, Fuji. He'll get back to the base in time as Armitage will reset here.
Sure smells like something's on here, to be honest with you. He was leaning towards second base when they threw it over to first. So this could be a hit-and-run situation here.
Yeah, big lead once again for Fuji. Armitage taking a look. Runner goes. Here he is. That one, a hit and run will succeed, but Paulos tracked forward, now tracks back under it once again as Ethan Paulos will send that base runner back to first. Fuji didn't quite get the hit and run to work there.
Well, blind squirrels and acorns, Marshall, every once in a while we get it right, but he was really leaning forward there. It kind of looked like it was something going on, and so that ball really carried, though. It looked like a pretty minor pop-up just to a can of corn to center field, but with that wind blowing out now, I see the flag is a little more straight than it was when the game started, and it's a little more directly to center field as well. So something the outfielders, especially on the left and center, are going to have to be focusing on the fact that the ball is really going to carry. So if they wanted to send him with 1 out, it wouldn't be surprising if they sent him again with 2 out, try to get him in scoring position here.
It was Vani Penalve in the all-important 3 spot. Looks at that first ball go by for a 1-0, and yeah, Paulos up 4 big steps forward and then immediately booked it back the other way.
Yeah,
so.
It looked like it went off the end of the bat when he first hit it. I was surprised how far it carried.
That one wide once again. I think just trying to control the base runner is Cassidy Watt, as that's a 2-0 there. And one of the things I've seen from the Brantford pitchers, they've done a great job being, very focused on base runners. They're thinking about the big picture, but one of the struggles can be they do get quite distracted. A lot of these guys that start games, you can make some silly mistakes in the pitch mix, as that one is going to be swung on by Penalve. 2-1 here as that misses low.
Yeah, surprising that he would offer up on a pitch like that at the 2-0 count, but he was very aggressive on it, and that is what I've noticed about a lot of Cuban hitters. They're very aggressive at the plate. Good
reason to be. He's hitting .395 this year. And that one might have a chance at another. Over Burdett's head, and he'll make the play on it. Does Bateman? Oh, great fielding play by Lucas Bateman. Wow. The second baseman there, Lucas Bateman. Great job to get the spin on that one.
How's that for range, Marshall? He went almost all the way to the baseline there to pick that up. That's incredible. That ball bounced over top of the first baseman, and Bateman ended up picking that up. Good stretch on it, and to the point where Burdett was barely aware enough to get back to the first base and cover, because he couldn't have thought there was any way that he was going to pick that ball up, and they almost got him at the play. That was a real banger at first base.
Bit of confusion when Penalve will be scored as on base there. Looks like they're going to give it to him, as Bateman's play will be in vain, but an awesome spin and another piece of good range there by Nick Burdett on first. So now runners on the corners for Junior Ibarra. Low and in the dirt. Watt can't get a hand on it. Ibarra now a 1-0 count, and how's he tend to do in these big situations? I know he's only hitting .267 this year, but as a catcher, again, you've talked about his value and experience. What does he tend to do in situations like this?
He puts the ball in play. He doesn't strike out very much at all, and that's the real important thing here, is that you put pressure on the defense with 2 out and runners on to make a play so that to avoid giving up a run.
Runner thought about going there on third, but chance here for Ibarra to clear the fence. Well caught by the left fielder, Takioka. Ends the inning in an all-important spot, and one of the shorter players on the Red Sox defense goes up to get that one. Great play.
Well, that was a hanging slider, and he ripped it, and they were very fortunate that ball was hit directly at an outfielder. But that's 2 plays now that we saw in that half inning, Marshall, where the outfielder initially made the step in.
Right.
That's baseball 101. When you are an outfielder and the ball is hit right at you, your first step is back. Always back. It invites you, especially when you see a line drive, to go in toward it because you don't want to land in front of you. But with the wind blowing out and the power that the hitters have, your first step has to be back. It'll make it a lot easier. His athleticism, Takioka's athleticism made that play, but with a little less speed, that ball goes over his head. When you're playing at this level, all defensive plays have to be made. As the old saying is, make all the plays you're supposed to make and a couple that you're not supposed to make, and you'll be all right in a game. So good job by him to recover, but like I said, moving forward, they have to realize the wind's blowing out. The first step on a fly ball has got to be back.
Well, today on Father's Day Sunday, I just want to take a moment to let you know who the Brantford Red Sox personnel has their dads here in attendance today. We talked about Max Schmarter already, shortstop for Brantford. His dad, Eric Schmarter, in attendance to watch him. Graham Tebbett didn't get the start today. He'll often play either first base or outfield. He could come in today in substitution, but his dad, Dave Tebbett, is here irregardless of whether he plays. Lucas Bateman, we talked about him. He's hitting exceptionally well in the air. Pete Bateman will be here to watch his son try to get Brantford's 1-0 lead opened up a little bit. Aiden Armitage, his dad, Derek, is getting the best value of anybody. His son gets the call as a starter today, despite playing as a bullpen arm most of the year. Crawford Passey's dad, Jonathan Passey, here in attendance. Crawford might come out of the bullpen later on in this one. Jeremy Veilleux's dad, Pierre Veilleux, is here, another guy that could come in substitution. Starting center fielder, Ethan Powell's dad, Al, is here. We thank him for coming out. Then Jackson Smith and Tyler Susie, the pair of pitching arms. Tyler is actually the interim manager today. Their dads, Rob Smith and JP Susie, here in attendance. Takioka thought about a bunt there, kind of lays off it, but that one does go down for strike one, right down the middle. It's a really cool opportunity here for a lot of players to hit in front of their dads today. You got to think a lot of family members will come out to quite a few of these ones, but special circumstances here as Martinez faces Takioka and gives him another strike.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever too old to stop thinking it's cool to play in front of your dad, to be honest with you. I know that, like I say, I kind of cut my playing career a little short, but I always enjoyed it when my dad came to watch whatever sport I was playing.
The 0-2, that one swung on and popped up right over the head of the second baseman.
Uh-oh.
No, won't make the play. All three into each other. As the entire Brantford offense hyped up on that one. Is somebody down?
Towers is hurt, I think. That's Mandalay, the shortstop, is it?
I believe so. It's number 20, Jordan Mandale, the shortstop. Yeah, discomfort there for the 39-year-old as the three players, that was the second baseman, the right fielder, and the shortstop all coming together. Mandale getting the worst of it.
That was the proverbial Bermuda Triangle where you hit that.
Yeah.
And that wind affecting that, on a day where the wind is down, that's probably a fairly routine play for the second baseman. But the wind kept pushing that out, but not enough because the outfielder playing very deep, which I'm wondering now, maybe the right fielder's playing a little bit deep for Takioka, who's not a big power hitter, kind of a slap hitter. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a high average guy who doesn't hit for a lot of power. So very important for that ball to drop in now. Runner on second and nobody out. And these are the kind of situations for a team that is, two-win team. These are the kind of situations where you must produce. No matter what Bateman does here, he has to make sure he has, at the very least, a productive out. Make sure you move the runner along and give Ortega an opportunity.
He'll bunt that one, but won't get it fair. That'll go wide for 0-1. And I'm sure the Brantford fans in attendance, that's always a fun play to see if you're the home side to get your runner on base. But I think they're even more glad, as am I, that Mandale and all the players involved are okay and will be staying in the game.
Absolutely. You don't want to see anybody get injured out there. So I noticed Aplovic now coming in. He was playing back. It would surprise me if they laid another one down here.
Bateman will swing on that one out towards center field. Let's see if the wind picks it up like it has today. It doesn't. Nice textbook play made there by Penalve in the center field position. An elite offensive option, but good reaction time defensively there. Made that one a textbook easy catch.
Well, a nice off-speed pitch by Martinez there to get him to go to the pull side, which is your goal as a pitcher. You don't want to allow the hitter to hit behind the runner to allow him to move him up to third base. So a good pitch there, good execution, and fairly easy play. That's the opposite side of that wind where it may have dropped down on a flat day, but the ball carried right out to the center fielder. No chance for advancement for Takioka.
Last time Ortega was up in the first inning, he saw Ren Takioka on first base. Now he sees him on second. Runner in scoring position. We'll see what Ortega, the dangerous power threat, can do. Wide and low. That one goes for ball one for Ortega, who, as a reminder, doubled in the first inning. Takioka now 2 for 2 on the day. Ortega looking to join him in that column. Cassidy Watt behind him with only one out in the inning. That one, I let it go by. Maybe shouldn't have. Steve Knight will give it to Martinez. And Martinez, a guy that he's had some good hitters counts. That was an 0-2 that Takioka swung on. I think he's got to execute a little better on some of these favorable pitchers' counts.
Yeah, in fairness, he got soft contact and got it popped up. It just happened to land in a spot where nobody was. So well, there's a rarity where a right-handed bat hits one into the third base dugout, hit it right between his own legs there. So, yeah, I agree with your point. The fact that he's got to start closing off hitters because I believe there were 2 strikes on Takioka the first time, worked it all the way back to a full count, and then hit a hanger into right center field for the base hit.
Here's the 1-2 from Martinez. Ortega lets that one go by. Ibarra lets it in the dirt, picks it up for 2-2. And one thing I've kind of talked about all season, I don't know how much of this is a real effect, but for Brantford, you can't be a standings watcher if you're one of these other teams. Because this 2-11 team, you've talked about how dangerous their offense is, as have I. I often wonder in some of these pitchers when they start out well, like Martinez generally has here, you can never get too comfortable. Even if you get in a good pitcher's count against one of these Red Sox hitters, you can't think of him as a 4-hole hitter on a 2-11 team. You got to think of him as what he is, and Christian Ortega is a real threat, even at 0-2, which he's now worked back to a full count.
This is the IBL, man. You got to respect everybody in this league, and everybody who's up to bat can hit. They all had success at various levels in minor baseball, in college, whatever school they went to, whether it be in Canada or the U.S. Maybe they played some pro ball. This is the IBL. You better go up with every single at bat with respect for the guy with a bat in his hand. Otherwise, somebody's going to burn you if you're too careless.
Martinez versus Ortega, 3-2 full count. Big one with Takioka on second. That one swung on, chopped foul. This count will remain alive, and the Brantford home crowd waiting with bated breath as this is one of those hits that can really change a baseball game, open up a lead. And I know there's been some issues for the Red Sox bullpen kind of holding these early leads, but a team like Kitchener, I think, potentially you think you got a better shot than like Welland, where I think it was a 3-0 lead became 11-3 pretty quick.
It's a really unique lead off by Takioka out at second base. Most guys go to the outside of the bag and walk in as the pitcher becomes set, but he starts in and walks in. Look, he's almost right on the grass there. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That one, does he go around?
I didn't think he did.
He doesn't. Home plate umpires, or first base line umpire is going to give it to him as Ortega will get on base to join Takioka. A double and an HB, or base on balls the start to the day for Ortega. And Cassidy Watt, gentleman who's done so well, has held up multiple runs defensively, has prevented runs in the defensive side. Offensively, he's done quite well, but only 4 ribeyes on the season for him. He'll look to really make an impact with 2 on base. And again, Takioka, like you've talked about, one of the things Carlos Verde has highlighted all season is just these different backgrounds, that where players have played internationally, how it informs their play style. And Takioka, some time in a number of leagues around the world. Maybe that's where he's picking up that base running approach from. Swinging miss there for Cassidy Watt on the 0-1.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's teaching that, to be honest with you. Like I said, it's generally you'll go to the outside, the outfield side of the bag, and walk in toward the pitcher as he comes set. And he is still walking in, but like I said, I've never seen anyone that close, because I'll tell you.
That one checks up.
Nice pitch there.
Yeah, good pitch, though. Right down the middle, 0-2 now for Watt.
The point being, or at least the theory being, that when you're on the outside, the ball has to travel further on a pickoff play.
Right.
So when you're closer like this, the ball doesn't have to travel as far for the tag on a pick play at second base, which is why it's unique for him standing where he does.
That one just a little bit wide. Knight will keep this one alive here. He'll give Watt another chance. Now 1-2, and Takioka not being played super close there. The second baseman Towers is giving him a fair bit of room to work with for Takioka. Plays a little bit closer this time. That one swung on and missed. Watt will give the 4th of the day, 4th strikeout for Martinez. Or pardon me, 5th strikeout, and only 3 innings.
Well, the one thing we see out of Watt, it's the first time I've seen him actually play live, and that front side comes out a little bit. Clearly he is hoping for inside pitches. So the one thing about kind of selling out to the inside pitch, it makes it difficult to hit that away pitch, especially the hard slider that Martinez is throwing. You know, my old friend Dana Dusky, who is a longtime veteran in this league, he always told me his plan was to look away and then react in.
That one wide off the plate for Burdette. It looks at a 1-0, and I feel like baseball rhymes sometimes. Nick Burdette comes back up in another situation like he did in the first, with runners in good position, runner in scoring position. He grounded out the first time. That ended the first inning. We'll see what he can do here with 2 outs in the 3rd.
Coincidentally, you mentioned that he hasn't seen a lot of runners on base, and now he's seeing them all day today. That
one going to be chopped out towards the foul area, towards our first base cameraman, as that count will even up 1-1. And Burdette, again, you talk about that veteran experience. You got to wonder in these situations, you know, it depends. You always think of some of the younger, less experienced players as having more nerves, but Burdette as well, he's seen this position a lot. He knows how important this is, should be worried, but also knows that he needs to keep it calm.
Yeah, this is a big at-bat. I think he recognizes that, so his focus is at a high level right now, trying to get the job done. Clutch 2-out hit.
Well, tried on Takioka, did the full spin to check on him, but Takioka got back to second before Towers could, and or pardon me, that's the shortstop Mandalay checking on him, the veteran from Cuba. Here's the 1-1 to Burdette. That one wide off the plate again. Martinez is kind of, it's interesting. He sometimes looks like a different pitcher at bat to at bat when it comes to his positioning and his attempts to find the plate. Sometimes he's got great stuff, great movement, but not a lot of stuff to leave in the middle of the zone. In this one, he's trying to work the zone a little bit more, but Burdette really making him earn those strikes.
Now, Ibarra just moved to center fielder. I wonder if we're going to see an off-speed pitch here.
2-1. No, a little bit of speed off the plate. Martinez didn't look happy.
Interesting coincidence where he moved the center fielder over to the pull side and then threw an outside fastball that he isn't likely to pull to that position. So interesting defensive alignment versus pitch selection. It's all part of sequencing, right?
3-1. Burdette has a chance to walk. The bases loaded here. We'll see what he does. Wide off the plate is Ibarra. That one swung. Can it find the gap up the second base line? Yes, it can. Burdette's on first. The runner comes around. Takioka scores. I'll advance to third base with the other base runner, Nick Burdette, the part-time manager, the Brantford veteran. He gets them on base once again. His first hit of the day, and the entire Brantford personnel out there to congratulate Takioka, who scores on that one.
Nice piece of hitting there. He got a pitch that was a little bit outside, hit it where his pitch, got it up the middle, just out the reach of Towers. Great effort by Towers laying out to try and knock it down. that is a commonality that we managers yell out with 2 out. You know, when there's 2 out, runner in scoring position, we're dirty, guys. We're getting dirty. Nothing gets by us. We have to knock that ball down. You knock that ball down, it saves a run. Fortunately for Brantford, he was able to get it through.
Towers had a big play defensively earlier, couldn't quite get that one. So Brantford opens the lead up further, 2-0 now here in the bottom of the third. Runners on the corners, Ortega on third, and Nick Burdett, where he plays defensively, he now sits on offense. And this is Andrew Savage. This big swing and a miss for the second consecutive pitch. Now 0-2 to Martinez, and Savage 3 for 4 yesterday. Had a swinging strike in the second inning, so second inning consecutively he's back up. Runners on the corners in his second appearance. This is where you can really make a name for yourself. That one low and in the dirt. 1-2 here. Savage will get another chance.
Tell you, Ibarra is an absolute wall back there. That's about the 9th or 10th time that Martinez has bounced a pitch. Nothing seems to get by this guy. It's like he's got his own blockade going on there.
Ortega, not the twitchiest base runner they could have there on third, but he's got a decent enough lead. A wild pitch could bite them. That one low and wide. Steve Knight will keep that one out of the strike column. Going to go 2-2 here for Savage.
That's that hard slider. Nice take there for Savage, especially with 2 strikes. You have to believe anything going on the outside pitch. Right now, the best pitch, I think, is an outside 2-seamer because they're all laying off that outside pitch now. If I'm Ibarra, I want an outside 2-seamer here.
That one swung on and tagged up. That'll end the inning. Runners stranded on the corners, but Nick Burdett, awesome RBI there to get the Brantford lead doubled to 2. And I mean, I would say Martinez today, I know he's had a couple little questions. He's potentially had his location kind of cost him on a couple batters to open this lead up to 2, but already 5 strikeouts, 6 now for that one on Savage. He's started out pounding the zone today. The box score looks good, but 2 runs early on. What is it you think has really costed him versus Armitage's 31st innings so far?
Well, he's making good pitches, and let's break down the run that was just scored by Brantford. He had 2 strikes on Takioka, made a good pitch, got soft contact, but it just happened to land in an area where not only did it not get caught, but fielders hit each other, so he ended up on second base. And so if you think about that, even if that just lands and they're able to hold him to first base, maybe that base hit doesn't make a run happen, you know. So the only thing with Martinez is he just tries to get a little too fine sometimes. Sometimes you just got to pound the strike zone. And so that's what we're seeing out of Armitage right now, where he is getting to 2 strikes, being aggressive. He's in total control of that slider of his. He's throwing at any pitch, any count, any place. And so that's something that you're looking for now, is that Martinez has really got to finish at bats a little bit better.
We'll come back here at the top of the 4th. Quickly, we're going to take a little bit of time to get a word from our sponsors. We'll see you in a moment.
Hard line drive up the middle. Whoa! Lindor out of nowhere. How did he do that?
That Lindor can play. I don't know about that hair. And don't get me started on those gloves.
I don't know. I kind of like it.
It's time for a revolution. The Ref 1X by Rollins.
And welcome back to Arnold Anderson Stadium here as we join you back in the top of the 4th. In this contest between the visiting Panthers and your Brantford Red Sox. That one swung on here by the right fielder, Nico Kairos. He struck out on his first at-bat of the day in the first. They see him back again in the 4th inning, and now he finds himself in an 0-1.
Yet another first pitch slider from Armitage to Kitchener batter.
3 strikes for Armitage today, no walks thus far. Kairos will pop that one up. Watt doesn't even get off his knees for it. That one fouled over our heads. Now 0-2 and Armitage, again, we talked about his dad in attendance here today for Father's Day. He's really had this game in control in a way that his box score doesn't look quite as nice, his line, as Martinez's, but he's really given the Panthers nothing to work with. That one chopped over to the third base line by Kairos. Textbook play here by Savage. Burdett doesn't even need to leave his vertical stance to make that catch. Awesome throw by Savage. He's, I know he's new here defensively at that position today for the Red Sox, but he's looked comfortable. Not a lot of jitters out there for number 2.
Well, I tell you what, that's the in-between hop that you worry about. Generally, we're going to use a drop step there. He kind of stabbed at it a little bit, but it showed a good set of hands. Showed a catcher's set of hands, to be honest with you, as we saw yesterday in Guelph, and flagged it down and then made a good strong throw across the diamond.
Close Applebeck will send that one right to the second base spot, and Lucas Bateman, another guy in front of his dad today. I'm sure his dad has been teaching him fielding for a couple of years and showed out on that one. Bateman, the little hop to make that catch, and Klaus Applebeck again. Felt like the last time we saw him, quickly fouled it, or flew out that time. Quickly grounded out to Bateman.
Yeah, good line drive, and really important now. 2 outs on 4 pitches for Armitage, who was trying to limit his pitch count, that we referred to earlier on today.
Quick inning here now against Charlie Towers, going to make his second appearance today. He's singled in the second inning, and he's a guy that, he had that scary moment defensively where he made contact with a couple players earlier, including Mondelez. That one wide and high. Ball 2 here for Armitage.
Yeah, nice pitch, just went around the outside of the plate there. I think the strike zone has been fairly liberal today, so if the pitcher doesn't get a call, you're not going to hear much from him.
So here's the 2-0, Armitage against Towers. Big swing and a miss there for Charlie Towers. 2-1 now.
Yeah, this is an important at bat here to try and get a 3 up and 3 down inning.
The fans getting loud here at Arnold Anderson Stadium. A couple of free souvenirs being thrown out as Towers watches that one go by in the dirt. Now 3-1.
If you can get through this, then you're still got next inning. It'll be 8-9-1. So it's very important to try and get this batter. It's a good hitter, Charlie Towers, but he's a guy that you really got to go after.
Armitage again. Towers going to chop that one out towards Burdett. Can Burdett make the play at first base? No, drops that one, and Towers, they say he'll get him. Nick Burdett, that one looked like he didn't have it all the way. Dropped the ball, gets it, and barely gets that one to first in time.
Well, a lot of energy out of Armitage there, and I force a habit where I sent to yell things on the baseball field. Very important, that's the old PFPs, pitcher's fielding position. That's what you do in spring training. Any ground ball over to the right side of the infield, the pitcher's got to get his butt over and cover first base, and he got there in time. Nice play by Burdett, knocked it down, took the time to recover, good low underhand pitch to first base, got the out, and got the third out. Like I say, that's an important out to get 1, 2, 3 there, 5, 6, 7. That way you've got the 8-9 hitter coming up next inning. And so Armitage has an opportunity to, at least get an out or 2 before the top of the order comes up for a third look, because that's going to be really interesting next inning when the Panthers get their third look at Armitage, because you can bet the Cuban fellas probably haven't seen him before. Now they've seen him twice. The one thing about the Cuban players that has been fairly consistent that I have seen is that their baseball IQ is off the charts, and they pick up information really, really quickly, and they store it and they know what to do with it. So next inning, when the Cubans start coming up again, hopefully they've got 2 out and nobody on before it happens.
We'll cycle back here to the bottom of the fourth. Martinez will return, and again, 6 strikeouts on the day, 1 hit by pitch, 1 walk, I believe 3 allowed hits, but 2 fielding errors behind him, I think, really led to both of those 2 runs for the Brantford Red Sox. So a guy that, again, individually you can do all you can as a pitcher, and you could argue he may have had a better start so far than Armitage, but he's the guy with 2 runs allowed on the ledger.
I was just going to say, Armitage is the guy with the donut beside his name, so, the guy who doesn't give up any runs, I give him the advantage all day long.
Here's Matty Torsen making his second appearance today. That one is going to be sent well out. Gap in left field and center field. Oh, what a play to get down. I think the center fielder thought he had that one all the way. I was a step ahead of him, and Matt Torsen will make a standing up play to get that double. I think that one for Penalve, the center fielder, he looked confident. His first step, he didn't have that urgency, but you've been talking about that wind, Brian, and it just seemed to keep carrying that ball to the warning track.
The ball is really carrying today, and that was, basically 2 bounces to the wall. I know that he got a glove on it. The only thing I might say, and it sounds like a harsh criticism, at this level, if you get your glove on a fly ball, you should catch it. But a tough play, you don't want to be too hard on the guy, but he laid out, made a good effort at it. And so another opportunity for Brantford to get a run here, and you got to think, I was just going to say, it looks like
Schmarter showing bunt, gets it.
Good
Torsen
bunt.
will advance comfortably to third. Misplays it. Schmarter will get there, standing up on the bunt. The Brantford crowd is loving what they're seeing. A great start to the game, and this Brantford offensive momentum we've seen all year is working its way up in the 4th inning.
Well, when you execute, you put pressure on the defense, and every once in a while the defense, all it took for Fuji was to not come up with that ball cleanly, and, Schmarter was going to be on there. You wouldn't have been able to throw him out even if he didn't drop the ball. So now you've got an interesting situation here.
Yeah.
We'll see how the Panthers play it. I assume it'll be corners in with the center of the infield back, and they'll play double play depth for the middle of the infield, and the corners will come home if they can.
Well, they meant to just put Torres in on third. Didn't know Schmarter would go with him, but runners on the corners here for Ethan Palos. That one low, but finds the zone. Palos disagrees, but he's down 0-1 nonetheless.
Well, this is a real opportunity for Brantford to put themselves in a comfortable situation here to get at least that one run home from third at the very least. Time to put up a crooked number and get some space here.
That one low, almost the same spot, just a little wider. That'll go for ball one. And looking at my scoring sheet here, pretty much every hitter on this Brantford offense has had a situation with runners on base and usually in scoring positions. So getting some practice here in these big situations. Palos a good guy to have here with runners on the corners, no outs. That one chopped over to the first base area. He'll go by him. It falls down trying to make the play. Palos will get to first. Run will score. That's why you do the sack bunt. Torres in scores from third. And, I mean, this is just it's starting to get in a bit of a groove here for the Brantford offenses. So it'll now be Schmarter moving up to second. That's Palos on that chopped grounder to first. And the first baseman, I don't know if it looked like an obvious play, but I was a little surprised he was a step behind that one.
Well, he's got to hold the runner on there, and so that's the other thing. If Fuji makes the play on the bunt and throws that runner out, Aplevic is off the line, and that ball goes right to him, and they've got to play at the plate. So you can see how poor defense can snowball into a big inning.
Runners now on first and second. Martinez, he, again, just not getting necessarily the help behind him he'd be looking for. But as a pitcher, you got days where they're keep propping you up a little bit, and they got days where you got to carry. So really want to see him control this one. Don't give Takioka much to work with if you're a Kitchener fan. That one found in the dirty bar. We'll keep him on second. I'm surprised he didn't go there on that one, but you've talked about how talented, how able-bodied of a catcher he is.
Yeah, if you're running on Ibarra, you had better be sure because, like I say, generally we use the dirt cutout as a guideline. If that ball goes out onto the grass, that's a time when you can go.
Right.
But it was right behind his feet, and he knew exactly where it was.
Takioka now on 2-0. That one low in the dirt again. Ibarra, actually the umpire.
Yeah, he got fortunate there. The one that actually does get by him hits the umpire right in the foot. You could hear it go right off his tongue there.
See, but I don't mind that from Schmarter, stand on second again. There's often some urgency here with Brantford when you maybe don't trust the offensive hitters behind you. Right now, they got everything in their hands. I like Schmarter waiting, saying, okay, Takioka, 3-0, do your work.
Baseball 101, never make the first or third out at third base.
That one will go right down Main Street. Don't mind Takioka not swinging at that one. 3-1 now.
This is a really interesting pitch here to see what he wants to do with this.
Martinez really needs this one if he wants to have much more longevity in this contest. That one fouled sent straight up towards the shortstop area. Double play opportunity. Takioka runs it. Great piece of base running there from Ren Takioka. His first step was strong. He got there in a hurry, and right fielders often will make that play a little less than lefties. That was maybe a step that decided that one.
Wow, that was really good hustle by Takioka. That was a tailor-made double play ball on a one hop to the shortstop, quick lob, and then over to Towers. A quick turn by Towers, and still Takioka made it to first base there. So one out, a really good base runner on first base, a runner at third. Again, we're going to probably do corners in defensively here, but don't be surprised if Takioka takes off early.
That one going to be sent straight away to the shortstop again. 1 for the double play, 2 for the double play. Heartbreaking for Brantford, but finally Martinez got the defensive work behind him he needed. Almost back-to-back double plays.
Well, and that's what I was referring to right before that pitch there. If Takioka takes off, they don't get him at second, and that scores a run. So, like I said, I am an aggressive game manager by nature. It's a different story when your name is on the manager's, beside the manager's title there on the scorecard. But, if they send the runner there, they score an extra run. So they got one at least anyway, but you kind of feel like with runners on one run in and first and second with nobody out.
Right.
I was a little bit surprised that Takioka didn't bunt there, especially at 3-1 when Aplevic had moved back behind the runner at first base there. He could have bunted up first line and probably ran that out. At the very least, move it up. They get the ground ball to third base, scores a run. So like I said, that's what I do. Tyler Susie's running the show down there. He's running the game like he does. So fair enough. You get one. You want to just get Armitage back out here. And again, we spoke about this last inning. 8-9-1 coming up here. Got to go right at these first two hitters and make sure there's nobody on base ahead of the top of the order coming back up for third time around when they've had a chance to get some information on Armitage.
I think you bring up a great point about the Brantford offense there, how favorable that one looked, that situation. Runners on first and second, you got no outs. And I know you only come out of that inning with one. That's good to open up your lead to 3, but I think that's one of the side effects of being a 2-11 baseball team. Sometimes you can get underestimated. Sometimes you have the chance to surprise. But it's often a thing of, I don't think you've earned the benefit of the doubt yet as a team that you've been in these situations where you've opened up leads early. That's become the thing. If you only watch the Instagram stories to see our score after every inning, you've often had a lot of games you think are going to end up, in a Red Sox victory. So I don't think you've earned the benefit of the doubt to come out with only one run in such a favorable, position if you're the Brantford offense and say, well, we did, about everything we needed to. I think you really got to start opening these up. And runners in scoring position, I don't need to look at the number. I can tell you for certainty Brantford is leading the league in runners stranded. So I think that's one that if this one starts to turn around, if the Panthers offense can get to Armitage here the second time through the order, that might be a half inning that the Red Sox look back on.
Right. So the next couple innings now are going to be very important for the Brantford Red Sox to be able to negotiate the top of this lineup and navigate through it to try and maintain this lead.
Wow, showing bunt over the head of the batter there as Armitage really let that one get out of his hand.
Can't bunt that one, that's for sure. So I guess when we look at the record, you accept the fact that that is the record. So my point is, go for it. You know what I mean? Why hold back? May as well just go for it and take some risks and see what you can do. Put pressure on the Kitchener defense.
The DH Trent Lawson shows bunt again. That one will go right past the bat though. 1-1 now here for Armitage. And we talked about how fast that fourth inning was. 3 groundouts in quick succession. I think if you're Armitage, you got to start relying on your stuff more. The defense has done its job for you, but I would try to keep the balls out of play there in the infield. That one right down Main Street as well. 1-2 now here for Armitage.
They just don't want to hit that slider. It's been rocking all day long. He seems to throw at any pitch, any count, any location, and nobody has squared up on it.
Trent Lawson surprised he's hitting 8th today. He's 344 on the season, 11 hits. For him. Yep. That one will punch him out well in the zone. I'm a little surprised. Knight will give that to him, but Armitage will take them where they come. That's strikeout number 4 on the day.
Yeah, we call that the front door slider, where you kind of throw it at the batter and have it curl in last minute. You can't hit the pitch. All you can do is hope it misses. And, as the old saying goes, you didn't know whether to fight or why just watch.
The young Jamie Cabral from Vaughan, Ontario will hit 9th here. Second time up today. He popped up on his very first pitch of the day. We barely talked about him in the second. Or the third, I should say. Now he comes back up in the 5th. Showed bunt again. That one, though, a little bit high, I think, says Steve Knight. They'll give him ball 1 on that one.
Well, it sure seems like the Kitchener Brain Trust are thinking the same way we are, in the fact that they're trying to get somebody from the bottom of the order on base ahead of the third time around for the top of the order, doing anything you can to get on base.
That one popped up out to just over the head of the road dugout there. So first foul ball of the at-bat. First one in a while here for the Kitchener Panthers. I think when they make contact, when they've got a bat on the ball, it's really only been forward, but the problem is so many have been ground outs. I think Brantford more consistently fouling it off here. That's the 1-1 here for Cabral, or as you just alluded to, Brian, we got Fuji, Mandalay, Penalve up the next 3 for the Panthers. That's a dangerous next 3 hitters. If you're Armitage, you want to retire Cabral here. That one low and in the dirt. Watt couldn't get a hand on it, and luckily no base runners. That'll be a 2-1.
I noticed Burdette coming in at first base there, like he's still thinking about a bunt. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that Cabral's going to bunt here. I like him back a little bit because they're pitching him outside, and the ball is likely coming his way.
He's chatting with the first base umpire here. That one going to be chopped out towards Max Schmarter on the shortstop spot. He'll get that to Burdette. Good range there by Nick Burdette to record the out. He's, I know, one of the bigger guys in this team, but he has exceptional range out there on first base for his size.
That's why we like the big guys on first base. It makes, a little more range, a little more room for error on the throws across, especially from the left side of the infield. Schmarter looking really, really relaxed and smooth. Good timing, good tempo, good hands. Mechanically really solid at shortstop today.
Here's Yosuke Fuji. He's going to let that one go park it in the dirt for ball 1. And he started the game today, struck out in his first at-bat. He had a single there in the third, but that was to lead off the inning. So he's a guy that's never been looking at base runners today. And once again, he's got 2 outs in front of him, but no runners to show for it.
Well, mission accomplished, right? You got the 8-9 hitter. You got the top of the order coming up with 2 outs. So even if he does get on, you only need 1 more out.
Wide for ball 2, and again, the Mission BC native Yosuke Fuji hitting .371 on the year. He's got a 12 strikeout to 3 walk ratio. You want to see that discipline a little bit better if you're manager for Kitchener, Pete Kiefer, but
nice.
He'll be happy with 5 home runs that Fuji's registered on the season, and Armitage will get his count back competitive, 2-1 now.
It's such an important pitch to be able to throw the slider for a strike. A 2-0 pitch, you're sitting dead red fastball. You drop that get me over slider there for a strike, get back into the count.
For the Panthers, you'd love to see Mondelez up to bat in this inning. We'll find out. The 2-1 swung on Fuji. That one just a little higher than he was anticipating. 2-2 count.
A little more movement to that 2-seamer than we've seen, to be honest with you. He doesn't have a ton of movement on his 2-seamer, but that one seemed to have a lot in it. You would think that it would move a little more because you're kind of throwing it directly into whatever wind you can pick up in those 60 feet.
Big pitch for Armitage on 2-2. That one will be sent straight at Lucas Bateman over his shoulder. Catches a bad bounce off the dirt. And the right fielder, Torres, will have to make the quick throw to second. He's in. I think they caught him sleeping there a little bit. It looked like Torres wasn't expecting Fuji to round second, but
great hustle by Fuji right out of the box there, and a horrible break at second base there. That was Little League bounce there. That's the one you expect to find at a Pee Wee Park where it was bouncing right in front. It was 5 regular hops, and then whether it hit a stone or what have you.
Yeah.
Just a bad break for the Red Sox there. So with those wheels too, now he gets to second base, and you're concerned about a single now scoring a run where you had 2 out and nobody on.
Well, still 2 outs, so it could be worse here for the Brantford Red Sox, but Jordan Mondelez up to bat here. We've talked about how dangerous the experienced Cuban hitter is. Armitage, he showed bunt there. Watt, I think, gonna again take a look there at the base runner. Fuji not showing a ton of pace so far in his base running, although had a little bit more pop in his running than right fielder Matty Torzen was expecting there on that last hit. So
there is an inordinate amount of Kitchener Panthers faking bunt early in the counts here. It seems to me like half the lineup has tried it, to be honest with you. And I don't know whether they're telling us that they don't think Nick Burgett, who's a big fella, doesn't have the greatest range out there. Maybe they don't think he can field it, or whether they're trying to draw somebody in or what have you. But, if I am certainly at the very least at third base with Savage, a balk.
Alrighty. I was honestly so focused on Mandalay, I didn't notice the positioning there for Armitage. But, yeah, they are going to give Fuji the advance to third base on a supposed balk here for Aiden Armitage.
Well, he's not arguing it. That's my apologies. I didn't see what he did there, to be honest.
Mondelez, gotta think he's gonna swing now. He will. He'll try it off the bat, out foul. And so what does that do here, Brian, from a coach's perspective? These guys that are faking bunt, a lot of them are trying to then reset for the hit. But how much as a hitter can you really get back to a prime batting stance if you're faking hits or faking bunts every?
Well, you don't generally. There's 2 points for faking a bunt. Number one is to bring an infielder in on the corner to give you more ability to slap one past him. But
Mondelez up on the hands for ball 2.
At the end of the day, though, like I say, the third baseman is not going to come in here with a dead pull hitter like Mondelez up, and he's not likely to hit it toward first base. So I'm not really sure what we're trying to accomplish here. That's the only thing, is I feel like they're trying to bunt up first base line because they don't think Burdett can make that play.
2-1. That one's chopped up in the air by Mondelez. Pointing up at it is Schmarter. Paulos will try the play under it, and he'll get it. End of the top of the 5th. The Brantford Red Sox defense finally relenting a little bit. Armitage allowed a couple good hits there, but they are sent packing, are the Kitchener Panthers. That'll end the inning with Fuji on third there. And it was an interesting inning there, I think, for the Kitchener offense. We talked about the value of that, the very dangerous top of the order there for the Panthers to get back up to the 1-2-3. But like you're saying, they're trying, like, you know, some technical stuff there with bunting and base running. It looks like the hitters aren't out there to just be hitters, and I think that's something different than we've seen with Welland and London, where we would pull, you know, Robert Mullen there hitting in the 4 spot against Welland, and very unfavorable spots all game, and he was swinging for the fences every time, and he got solo homers on a bunch of those hits. It looks like the Kitchener Panthers are not treating their hitters the same way.
Well, it's one thing for the bottom of the order to do it, to try and scrap and claw and do anything they can to get on base, but a number 2 hitter with Mandelay's pedigree and ability, you know, you're just wasting a pitch as far as I'm concerned, to be honest with you, by throwing out a fake bunt there. So if you got a runner in scoring position, 2 outs, you're not going to bunt. If you're the 2-hole hitter, you're going to hit the ball. You want to get a base hit. Puji's got great speed. He's going to score from second on a base hit almost every time, you would think. So I really don't understand why the guys at the top of the order are trying to do it. But, you know, that's, you know, maybe it's something that they talked about. Like I said, that's the only thing that makes any sense to me. I know that Nick Burdett, good stick, but doesn't have the greatest range at first base, with all due respect to that veteran. You know, maybe they are saying that his athleticism is such that we're going to try and bunt the ball down first baseline and try and get guys on base. But at the end of the day, though, there's still 2 out with a runner in scoring position. So I don't care about a bunt down the line. I want my 2-hole hitter to rake something into the outfield and score that run, especially when I'm down 3-0.
Here's Christian Ortega, very first pitch at the bottom of the 5th. That one set up towards the right field area. Had to really arrange for that one, but he will make the easy play on it. So Christian Ortega, his third at-bat of the day will end just as quickly as it started.
Real good pitch there, a 2-seamer that rode in on Ortega, got it in on the hands. He was unable to get any power into it, so really good start there.
Nico Cairo's out there in right field for the Panthers defense. Had an error earlier on that ended up scoring a run that time. Still, I didn't love his route to the ball, but he did get under it quite comfortably, so we'll see what Cassidy Watt can do. He shows bunt. Again, lets it go by, and we're seeing a lot of that today. First time for the Red Sox, though, as we see 0-1 here for Martinez in his 5th inning of work.
Watched a lot of IBL. I don't think I've seen so many guys square to fake the bunt. I mean, I've gone weeks. We would go weeks in this league without anybody bunting. You know, never even saw anybody try. They wouldn't even sacrifice, to be honest with you. But
first time Ibarra has missed a ball past him all day. Now going to be a 1-1 count on the ball. Oh, big swing and miss from Cassidy Watt. Martinez gets him in the 1-2 spot he's hoping for. Looking for strikeout 7 on the day, I should say.
That's that really well-located hard slider. He likes to throw the middle third outside of the plate, and it bends over to the black and drops as well. He gets depth to it. I don't know if you caught that on the screen or not, but that's that quick delivery that he does every once in a while. He just steps right into it and screws up the hitter's timing. He did that a lot when we played London in the playoffs a couple of years ago. He did that a lot when he pitched a complete game win in Game 2 against London.
The 2-2, that one just outside wide.
Just missed with that one.
Just missed it. Steve Knight agrees, 3-2 here. And how much does that affect a new hitter versus an experienced hitter, that quick delivery approach?
Well, you're just not ready for it, and so you just hope to heck that he doesn't throw a strike there, because best you can hope there is to foul that off.
Full count. This is a big pitch for Martinez. High. Oh, he was turning around to Cassidy Watt to go to first base on the walk. Steve Knight surprised him. Going to call that one a strike, and Martinez on the ledger for the 7th time today.
Suffice to say, Watt disagrees with that one. That was a borderline pitch. It was, unfortunately for Watt, I don't think it was hittable for him, to be honest with you. He just dropped it right on the outside corner there. So a great pitch. Whether it was an inch off or whether it was on is at this point irrelevant. He rang him up. And even if he was going to swing at it, I don't see him making any solid contact on it.
So here's Nick Burdett. Back up for the 3rd time today. Grounded out in the 1st, had a single in the 3rd.
And for the first time up without runners on base.
That's right. Yeah, he's been in a lot of big spots today. He starts off 1-0. I don't think Martinez has recorded a strike in his first pitch in any of these at-bats against Burdett. That one just low and inside. We'll find the zone. 1-1 now for Burdett. It's Andrew Savage on the on-deck circle. 2 outs here. Burdett will chop that one up and over our heads. Young fan there going to try to make the play on that one. Wish we had a camera out there. He was hustling.
Got a real good example there. Maybe didn't pick up on the camera that really great framing technique by Ibarra, getting those low pitches. We saw that so many times. I remember talking to Billy Matish, our manager, and we agreed how many pitches per game that Ibarra bought us. I'm, as a former umpire, I believe that there's too much emphasis put on framing. I guess my point is that you rarely will buy strikes, but you can easily cost your pitcher strikes if you frame it in a sloppy fashion. If you've got your glove up and it's a low pitch and you drop down, maybe bounce the glove on the dirt, even if it was a strike, you're not going to get that call because it doesn't look like a strike. But, this umpire is a guy who's looking for strikes, which is the kind everybody likes. And so when you frame it well, you can buy those borderline pitches sometimes.
Nick Burdett showed discomfort there with his eye. I think he got a little bit of dust or dirt up there in it. Had to call to the bench to get him some water. Clears it out, and he's back here on a 1-2 count. Seen a few relief pitchers make the trip from the bench to the bullpen there for the Brantford Red Sox, so we may see Armitage get relieved here in just a few innings.
He's got to be nearing the end of his rope, one would think.
Big swing there and a big miss for Nick Burdett. He'll go down on a swinging strike for the first time today. And that'll be the end of the inning. The Brantford Red Sox offense, not quite as much success as we saw there in the fourth. And Martinez will get through with 2 more strikeouts on his ledger now. Again, 8 for the day. So line score looks awesome. You rarely see that many early in an IBL outing. But again, he's the pitcher who finds himself 3-0 here.
Well, I tell you what, he generally gets stronger as the day wears on. And what a bounce-back inning for him. Consider the first 3 guys got on base last inning, and he's retired the last 6 in a row now. And so, yeah, that's Martinez, man. He just gets stronger as the game goes on.
Well, thank you for joining us here on a Father's Day Sunday of IBL action. We thank you for joining us here on the IBL Brantford Red Sox YouTube. We'll see you after a quick break in just a moment for the top of the 6th. And welcome back, live on the IBL coverage of your Brantford Red Sox. Marshall Crocker welcoming you back here on a lovely Father's Day Sunday. Getting ready for the top 6th here as the Brantford Red Sox hold a 3-0 lead over the visiting Kitchener Panthers. New arm here in the ball game. Colby Klepper, I believe, making his 4th appearance of the season out of the bullpen here, and he's been exceptional this year for the Brantford Red Sox.
Well, this is an important inning for them there, for Brantford to get through the meat of the order here. 3, 4, 5 coming up in the 6th to bridge the game to the late innings. I don't know who they've got left available after the busy week that they've had for the late inning game. I know De Los Santos pitched 2 innings last night. So this is a huge inning for Brantford defensively.
Colby Klepper taking on Giovanni Penalve first time today. Nice power there right down the center of the plate. 0-1 here, and well, the Parkland County, Alberta native, as Colby Klepper, by way of North Dakota State University, finds him. That one is going to be low and in the dirt. That'll be an even 1-1 count. And Penalve, again, a gentleman who has hit exceptionally well this year, 395 average, 1 for 2 today. He struck out in the first, had that single in the third that didn't go anywhere as Ibarra then flew out behind him. We'll see what he can do here in Klepper's first outing. That one chopped over towards Lucas Bateman on second. He'll make the easy catch, and over to Burdett will record the out. So Penalve, a 1 for 3, which the statistics would suggest is below his usual performance.
And I'm happy for Bateman getting a gravy hop there after the nasty one that he got last inning there. It's just nice that baseball pays you back every once in a while. Really good pitch there. Just rode a fastball in onto Penalve's hands.
So here's your man Ibarra back up again. He's flown out in both of his at-bats today. Klepper, again, really nice wide release there that I think is a little different than what the hitters have been seeing with Armitage. It fooled Ibarra on that first first strike.
I thought it's a great move, making the move to the bullpen before the meat came through for the third time.
That one low into the dirt, about the same spot, just a little lower. Ball one. Ibarra's got Kairos behind him. He'll be warming up here momentarily. The 1-1 and Klepper's second at bat. Another good bit of velocity, just too low, and we'll go down as ball two.
Yeah, he throws hard. It looks like high 80s.
Ibarra 4 walks to 1 strikeout on the year, so can't get comfortable if you're Klepper in this count. Again, that one he's just going to let it go by, let it go low, and I think Klepper's still trying to find his vertical positioning here.
Well, three-run lead in the 6th inning. This is not a time to walk a guy. This is a time to go right at him and make him a hitter. Even if you throw one down the middle, he hits a base hit, you tip your cap and move on.
Yeah, we'll give it to him. That one's going to be Ibarra's first walk of the day, and his 5th on the season. Now 5 walks to 1 strikeout for Junior Ibarra.
Right fielder number 8, Nicholas Kairos.
So, you know, that's unfortunate. He made such a good pitch to get Penalver in the to open up the inning. Like I said, 3-run lead in the 6th inning. The last thing you want to see is getting, you know, picking at the corners. You just want to go at hitters here and make them swing the bat. Your defense is playing well behind you. Time to take advantage of it.
It's the first walk of the day by a Brantford pitcher. Armitage had none in his 5 innings of work. Nico Kairos here. That one to go by him for strike 1. Klepper finding his location again as he walked his second batter there. It's Junior Ibarra on first base.
Well, as I mentioned before the game, you know, one thing when I put my coaching hat on is I want to tell pitchers, as I always do, get ahead, stay ahead.
Let's see if he can stay ahead here on the 0-1. That one popped up in the air by Kairos. Pointing up at it is Klepper, and Bateman gets under that one, makes the easy catch for the second out of the top of the 6th. Ibarra still on first. It's going to be Klaus Appelvik, the first baseman, up for the 3rd time today. Flew out and grounded out in the 2nd and 4th, respectively.
First baseman number 85, Klaus Appelvik.
So Appelvik and Towers will be the next 2 if Appelvik's able to get on base. And 2 gentlemen that, again, we've talked about the importance of where you are in the lineup. Hitting 222 is Appelvik, 163 is Towers. So
just a little careful here. He's a first ball hitter.
I wouldn't have been there. That one well in the dirt, and there goes Ibarra. Scampering off to second, might try third, but Watt turns around on him. A couple guys today out there defensively have kind of just, you know, taken for granted the fact the runner won't advance. And Ibarra there, I know he's a catcher, but you've talked about how athletic he is. He at least had Watt fooled that he might go for third there.
Yeah, he has slimmed down since I coached him. He's in great shape now. I will say this, he still runs like a catcher. So he runs well for a catcher, which is, you know, like saying
an insult hidden within a compliment.
It's a backhanded compliment, I suppose.
All right, the 1-0 here from Klepper facing Appelvik. Big swing, big miss, 1-1, and Ibarra's advanced, but Appelvik's the guy that's got to do the job to get him on him around the bases to try to get Kitchener on the board for the first time in this one.
I'd stay with the breaking stuff here. He didn't look real good on that swing.
It'll be the bottom of the order if Klepper can take out Appelvik here next inning. 1-1. That one low in the dirt again. Wild pitch will put Ibarra on third. And Cassidy Watt, nothing he can do about that. But we didn't see really any of that from Armitage. Never did Watt have to make a big range to bring a ball in. And Klepper's got to find his location right now.
Yeah, just overthrowing a little bit here. Like I said, I probably would have stuck with the breaking ball there. He made him look pretty bad on that swing. He's a first ball fastball hitter, Appelvik, if I can recall correctly. So he's probably sitting dead red right now. I would throw a breaking pitch.
Here comes. Oh, that one inside on the hands. Couldn't tell. Did it catch the bat?
Yeah, a little foul tip there.
Alrighty, so 2-2-2 reads the scoreboard here. Klepper, I know you've had those 2 wild pitches, but advanced a runner twice. Now's your chance to make up for it. Could end the inning here with a strike.
This is a time for big boy execution.
Appelvik against Klepper. That one fouled out towards the parking lot in the first base line.
Look out.
Oh, thought about hitting the car. We've had a couple so far early on in the season here, Brian, that have taking rough bounces. I know the fans at home
The
don't
parking
have a
lot's
camera.
full. I'm not going to lie. I'm parked down in that area too. So
Alrighty.
I'm keeping a real close eye on where those foul balls are going down the first base line.
I'm always worried. I sit just behind the pagoda out there, and a number of balls have come close to my car. So that one,
There it
swing and a
is.
miss.
Yep.
There it is. Colby Klepper, perfect time to get your first strikeout of the game. He'll retire Applevic, and, well, 2 free bases for Ibarra, but he won't end up coming home as the lead stays at 3. Great job by the Brantford defense to, well, mostly by Colby Klepper in a big moment there out of the bullpen to end that inning, just as it looked like he may be the guy to start blowing the lead.
Yeah, he's nasty. He throws hard. He's got a hard slider. He just, that control there, he's got to lock in a little bit, but at the end of the day, he threw enough strikes to get the job done. And like I said, it didn't look like Applevic was going to have any luck putting that breaking ball in play. You can at least start it as a strike, go strike the ball with it at 2-2. And I don't think Applevic was real close to that last pitch there. So good job getting out of that one run. And just a super job, both like defensively, the pitching so far through 6 innings. I think Brantford's doing a fantastic job. As I alluded to, we talked about this off camera before we were on air. The fact that, it's been my experience. There's an old adage in baseball that says the teams, when they are evenly matched, the team that plays better defense wins most of the games.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing here where Brantford, yesterday, when Brantford snapped their losing streak, they played better defense than Guelph. They won the game 5-1 and a couple of unearned runs there. And today we've seen it as well where Kitchener has not been real sharp defensively. And we see a 3-0 lead, whereas Brantford has been very sharp defensively. And that's really what you want to see. Nice plays at short and at third base by the guys on the left side of the infield. Nice play by Takioka on the catch there in left field. Another nice play in center field by Paulos as well early on in the game. And nice stretch and a pick by Burdette over at first base. So at the end of the day, good pitching and good defense puts you in games. A little bit of clutch hitting wins those games. So now we just got to see if they can close it up.
Here's a new face that's looked pretty comfortable defensively thus far. Andrew Savage, he's playing third today. He's up for this third time in this one, and 2 strikeouts in his first 2 at-bats today. He'll want to figure Martinez out third time around. Doesn't that time. Big swing strike for 1-1.
Yeah, Martinez has been tying him up in knots. He had a great day in Guelph yesterday, going 3 for 4, solid contact, all 4 at-bats.
Likely the best pitcher he's played so far in the IBL. Is Savage going to chop that one right up the gap? Second baseman will get it on a bounce, though. Comfortably standing up, the first baseman had to really step off for that pitch there, but crazy bounce there, Brian, off the corner of the second base plate, and great heads-up defense there by Towers to get a hand on that.
Well, that's twice now we've seen Towers range to the other side of the bag, and that's an excellent play right there. Unfortunately, the thing with second basemen is they generally have second baseman arms. You think about guys like Robbie Cano or Robbie Alomar, guys that played in the major leagues that played second base and still threw the ball 90 mile an hour. There aren't many players like that at this level. So
here's Matt Torres, and up for the third time today. Watches that one go by low and wide for ball 1.
Well, to our point earlier on in the game, I wonder if they'll put something on here with the bottom of the order up.
That one wide again. Martinez not quite finding a spot here against the righty Torresin, who got on first on an error in the second and then had a double in the fourth. So great day so far today for number 27. That one right down the zone. That will be a 2-1 strike there for Martinez, who, again, just finds himself in these situations with no outs that he works his way out of generally, but the times he hasn't are the only runs of the day. Schmarter on deck here for the Red Sox. That one going to be sent right past the base runner. Mr. Savage will advance. He'll get to second, and Matty Torres, and there he is, 3 for 3 on the day, as the single will go right up the gap between the first and second baseman.
We had a near disaster going on there. Third base umpire Chris Long going into the infield, trying to get out of the way of a cutoff throw where the shortstop, and he collided almost. So that was interesting. So here we are, 2 on, nobody out, number 9 hole hitter up, and this is a time for execution. We got a bunt here, I think.
Schmarter's had runners on base in front of him every time today. He'll fake bunt early. We'll see if he goes through with it. Back on Ibarra. Does he get him? That one, it will actually come out of the hands of the shortstop, Penalve, but, or pardon me, that's, It's Mondelez there at the shortstop position. So weird little moment there.
Well, and that's one where, as I mentioned earlier on, watch out for Ibarra. He will back pick anytime, anywhere, any base. His bunt's got to go down the third baseline. The first baseman is right on top of him.
Schmarter shows bunts again. First and second, no out. That one sent foul, and Schmarter not happy with himself there.
So this is a point where you need to change your mechanics as a batter when you know you're bunting and you have to get it out to third base. You change your mechanics. You move up right up to the front of the box, get the bat out in front of the plate, and get it directed toward the third baseman. This is very important to get it going that direction.
Applevik's been coming right up. He's advancing here already. That time he will show swing, and he swung at one that was never finding the zone. Now 1-2 here for Schmarter.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I'd be honest with you. When I put my coach's hat on, I still want him bunting on this pitch.
Remember his dad Eric here in attendance. He'd love to see his son get a hit here on 1-2. Martinez. Swing and a miss. Martinez will sit him down for the second time today on a strikeout. And Schmarter's, again, his defensive value cannot be understated. Right now, the offense not quite there for number 9.
Well, he's trying to do a little bit too much there. I understand, you put a play on when you got the first baseman right on top of you. At the end of the day, though, that pitch was not a competitive pitch, and he swung at it. I know what he was trying to do to just slap it past Applevic, but, I mean, you lay off that pitch, you go to 2-1 instead of 1-2.
So Ethan Palos here back up to the top of the order. Strikeout, a ground out, and a single has been his day so far. Looking at 2 runners in front of him. That one will be chopped just fair, I believe. No, that'll find its way foul there. It was close, just had a bit of a spin to the right, and that'll go down as strike 1 on the count.
Interesting defensive position from Applevic there. He's on the inside of the runner. Generally speaking, with a left-handed hitter up, you'll play, as we say, on the cheek of the runner and right behind him. But he's decided to play up, and I don't know if he's being asked now. Maybe he's going to move back this pitch. We'll see here.
The Ancaster, Ontario native Palos, one of the few lefties in this Brantford lineup today, and hitting 375. He's in a big spot here. Only 3 RBIs on the season and 12 hits. That one well off and wide. He'll get himself in an even count here, will Palos. Martinez now again in his 6th inning of work. 1-1 count, 1 out in the inning. Remember, Savage and Torres in on base, not in that order. That one's low again for Palos. He'll look at ball 2, and he's done exceptionally well today. He hasn't quite figured Martinez out on the hitting side, though did single in the 4th, but he's really got him late into counts here.
Yeah, he has laid off a couple of real tough pitches. You're right, Marshall.
Takioka, another good threat to get on base here coming up. He's a guy that would be more of a threat if the bases were loaded. We'll see what Palos can do here. That one, great vertical movement, fooled Palos, and that one will go down as strike 2. So Martinez been pounding the strike zone today. He's got, 9 strikeouts now in this one. Number 10 would be huge, and what a moment if he were able to get it as the wind really picks up, going right to left.
Ooh.
No! I think the entire Kitchener bench thought differently than Steve Knight. This will be a full count on a pitch that really looked like it came back.
Man, oh man, that was close. What a take.
Yeah, Palos, just great poise here. Full count, runners on first and second. That one will be chopped right over the head of the pitcher. Goes to the second baseman for 1. 4-2. They'll get 2 outs and end the inning. And Takioka, I just said he would have been a threat with how much of an on-base threat he is with runners in scoring position, but he won't get the chances. Yeah, 3rd double play of the day for Kitchener. Couldn't have come at a better time.
Well, yeah, and they were fortunate there that Schmarter couldn't get that bunt down, because that's a run right there where you've got a bunt that moves the runners up. A ground ball goes to the right of the second baseman and makes him move, and that's an easy run scored there. It's an easy out and an easy run scored. So let's hope that those lack of execution moments don't come back to bite the Red Sox later on in this game. You think back a couple innings where they had first and second and nobody out and they didn't score a run. They got the run earlier on to get the 3rd run, but still had first and second and nobody out there and couldn't score there. Then they got a runner on third base with nobody out, or second base, and can't score that run. So, those are the moments that 2-11 teams don't excel at, and that's something that has to be continued to work on. It's one thing you talk about talent, you talk about pitching, you talk about defense, but situational gameplay execution is the difference between the good teams and the great teams. Some teams have so much hitting it doesn't matter what they do. Some teams have no hitting, so it doesn't matter what they do. But 90% of the league is somewhere in the middle. So if you're able to execute and make those runs happen, to my mind, this should be a 5-0 game and a very comfortable lead for Brantford. Right. But it's still 3-0. And when you consider it's the top of the 7th inning, and we have the 7, 8, and 9 hitters coming up, so even if they get through this and get back into the 8th inning, if the top of the order of Kitchener can generate 2 runs, you've got a real nervous 9th. Those 2 runs, like I said, let's hope they don't come back to bite Brantford in the end. So, but that's something that is going to have to continue to improve as the season wears on. It's a long season, 40 games, and so these are things that have to continue to improve on as they move through the season so they can get into the playoffs and start winning playoff games.
Well, 7th inning stretch coming up here in just a few moments as we start at the top of the 7th. When we get there, we will hear a word from our partners. But right now, Klepper's back in for his 2nd inning of action, and that one goes by low and inside on number 7. That is Mr.
That's Towers.
It's a substitution for Towers if it is. Is that one's going to be sent off to the third base line? That absolutely is. Pardon me. Got his number wrong there. So Charlie Towers is back up 3rd time today. Singled in the 2nd, grounded out in the 4th. He'll start off the 7th here as Klepper already in an 0-2 count. And that'll be chopped over the head of Klepper to Schmarter. Direct play. Can Burdett catch it? Yes, he can. Retires the out. Towers sits down for the 3rd time today.
So there's the good news for Schmarber. If he's an old school throwback shortstop, you know, back in the day, shortstops didn't hit much, but they played some elite level defense, and that's what we've seen out of Schmarter today, who is making all the plays that he's supposed to make, charge the play, catch it cleanly, quick release, throw right on the money. So important to make that happen. So like I say, you deal with a number 9 hitter who's not hitting a lot when he gives you that kind of defense.
Showing bunt, that one in the dirt again on Watts outside. And
Lawson seems to square to bunt every time he comes up.
It feels like it. Yeah, he flew out in the 2nd, struck out in the 5th, and that's why I had Schmarter, pipped as our player to watch today. I just felt like this one would come down to a close score, as it has. The little hits would matter, especially in clutch situations, and that one up and high inside, almost off the face of Trent Lawson, but he'll let it go by for ball 2. And I had a feeling we'd see a lot of defensive great plays for double plays today. They've just all gone for Kitchener. Kitchener has really got themselves out of some tough spots with double plays, where Schmarter, his day's been a little bit more just making the textbook plays, and he has.
Yeah, great point.
Here comes the 2-0, now the 2-1. A big swing and a miss there from Towers as Klepper finds a spot high.
Yeah, I really like Klepper. He's got some nice heat. That slider is nasty. And if he can continue to throw strikes, he should mow down the bottom of this lineup, I would think.
I'm a sucker for a wide release, and I think it's fooling hitters here as the 2-1 makes it 3-1. That one's a little low for the 4th pitch to Lawson.
But this is a guy you can't lose to a walk. Even if you throw it right down the middle here, you've got to make that happen. You need to throw strike right here.
Remember Lawson, 344 so far this year. See what he does here on 3-1. That one popped up and should go out of play. Watt will let that one go by over to the first base line. So full count again. Klepper's 2nd of the day. I think he executed pretty well last time, but we'll see what he does here with Lawson in a favorable spot. He's got 11 hits and 32 at-bats this year. That one going to be popped up out towards Nick Burdett, who I think is going to range at it. Bateman, I think, might get there in time. No, just short. It is foul, but Bateman tried the slide, lost his hat, and he did a nice little spin getting up. I think he thought he had a chance at that.
Tell you what, Bateman is impressing me big time with his range. Like that, like I said, I was lucky enough to be old enough to watch Robbie Alomar in his prime as a defensive second baseman that had range like nobody I've ever seen since. And Bateman is recalling memory to that, where he's able to get to the baseline on pop-ups, and that play that he almost made earlier in the game on the Baltimore chop over Burdett's head.
Ace in 341 as well on offense. Great value to this team as that one swung and missed. Klepper sits him down for the 2nd of the day. Struck out Applebeck in the 6th, strikes out Lawson in the 7th, and Klepper's holding this 3-0 lead well.
Well, the Red Sox are putting on quite a show for this crowd, and there's a real nice crowd here. All four of the grandstands are almost full, man. This is a really nice crowd on a Father's Day Sunday, a perfect day for baseball, and the Brantford Red Sox putting on a show for the home fans.
As Jamie Cabral returns for his 3rd time today, he's popped out, he's grounded out. We'll see what he does in the 7th. He watches ball one, or the first ball go around down for a strike right down home plate. And I'm going to give you homework, Brian, if you can throughout the rest of this inning. I'm curious when the last time Brantford won 2 consecutive games. It would have been back in 2024. I'm trying to think what the date would have been, because don't want to jinx it, but this home crowd hasn't seen 2 consecutive wins for this Red Sox team in a fair while. Looking good here today.
Well, I'm with you. I don't want to. I'm a baseball guy. I don't. Superstition is my middle name, so we're just going to enjoy the next couple innings here and keep working on the fact that they need 7 more outs to navigate through. There's some action up in the bullpen there.
Yeah, I think it's Crawford Passy warming up there in the bullpen. His dad attends today, so maybe the Father's Day special arms are getting extra attention here for the Red Sox.
That's the new thing now, starting warm-ups with a football.
Oh, yeah. Huh. The 1-2, that one well outside. Klepper, since maybe the commentator jinx coming in early. Since I said that, he has not been able to find his spot on the outside.
Well, he doesn't throw a lot of consecutive strikes. He throws hard. That arm slot that he has, he just drops down a little bit from his normal, natural spot every once in a while, and you can see it because he pulls it glove side when he drops down a bit.
Let's see if Cabral can get on the board. Doesn't there. That'll go low for ball 3. Another full count. It feels like Klepper's been in only full counts so far today.
True. So here we go. Execution, situational execution. Number 9 hitter up, 3-2 count, 2 out, nobody on. This has to be a strike.
Kitchener wants to get back in this one. Cabral will have to come up big. That one chopped, going to be sent right towards the pitcher and catcher. Can walk at the play on it. No, he can't. Not quite in time. That one will go wide as Burdette can't get a hand on it. Cabral is on base there with, that's tough. With that,
tough play there, unfortunate. And I noticed just as Watt jumped to get out of the box, he just slipped a little bit. And so, unfortunate that he couldn't get a throw a little bit higher up. Tough play for Burdette. I don't think the ball bounced, but it was right down near the ground there. Tough play.
What that does is bring up the top of the order again. Yosuke Fuji is going to come up again for his 4th time today. He's got 2 hits, 1 a single, 1 a double. And we talked about all game. He's never had a guy on base in front of him. Finally, He does. Let's see what he does with 2 outs against Klepper. Big swing and a miss on the first pitch from Klepper.
Boy, that slider is nasty, man. If he can control that, that's going to be they're not going to do a lot with that pitch.
Fuji, the left-handed hitter. Righty-lefty as Klepper deals well off the outside of the plate. Doesn't seem to be a directional thing. He's just, when he misses that spot on the outside, he really misses it. But as long as Watt can keep a hand on it.
Yeah, a little quick there. When you're quick, your arm falls behind you and you miss on the arm side.
Here comes the 1-1. He'll try the check on Cabral. He'll find his way back to the base comfortably. Still 1-1. Comes the 1-1.
Nice pitch
just
there.
Inside. Steve Knight will give it to him on home plate. 1-2. Klepper could end the inning here.
Be interesting to see with 2 strikes if Cabral goes here. I notice he's trying to get a walking lead on him.
Here's the 1-2. Runner almost goes, but he swings and misses. Colby Klepper, 3rd strikeout of the day. And that'll end the top of the 7th to introduce the 7th inning stretch. We're going to be right back after a quick word from our partners. We'll see you in a moment.
Get ready, Hamilton. It's the 2025 IBL Home Run Derby and All-Star Game. Hosted by the Hamilton Cardinals at beautiful Bernie Arbor Stadium. Watch the league's top sluggers crush moonshots in the Derby. Then see the best of the best go head-to-head under the lights in the All-Star Game. Grab your tickets now at HamiltonCardinals.com. Because this summer, the stars shine brightest in Hamilton.
And welcome back to IBL Brantford Red Sox baseball here, coming to you live from Arnold Anderson Stadium. Marshall Crocker here on the call once again today. Thank you for joining me here on a Sunday, Father's Day afternoon of action as the Brantford Red Sox, they get into their offensive end of the 7th inning. Still up 3-0 here against the visiting Kitchener Panthers, looking for their second win in succession in this weekend and their third overall on the season. They're back up on the offensive side, and it's going to be Ren Takioka, a gentleman that would have been very valuable there when we had runners on first and second in the 6th inning. He comes back up with nobody in front of him this time, and he's had a very successful day getting on base. Singled in the first, had an error to get on first in the third, and then a sac bunt that turned into a first base appearance in the 4th inning. So it's one that Takioka should be proud of, and he's a guy that I could have told you in advance if Brantford was going to have a big offensive day, he would have been a key part of it. As the first pitch here goes by him, and a new face here in relief out of the bullpen. It's number 49. We'll get you an idea on him for the Kitchener Panthers, as Martinez will leave the game after 6 innings of work. That one set right back at us. Thank goodness there's a fence there as Takioka fouls that one off. 0-2 now.
Good trusty fence. Thanks for that, because I think that was headed right at you, and I don't have the hands I used to have, Marshall. I'm not going to lie.
And I'd argue I never did. So thank you, Arnold Anderson. All right, Takioka looking at 0-2 here. That one wide and off the plate. 1-2, and still waiting on an ID on the pitcher there for the. It's Cade Kozak. I'm hearing number 49, I believe, for the Kitchener Panthers is going to come in today in a relief appearance. We'll get you some info on him momentarily. As Takioka, big swing, and thought I caught him in the hand. Looked like he tweaked his shoulder. That was a hard swing and a miss there.
He tried to pull his hands in on an inside fastball there, and he does look out of sorts, doesn't he?
He does. Cade Cabral there gets his first strikeout of the day on his first batter faced. Lucas Bateman now back up. Hasn't put himself in the column yet today. Strikeout, flyout, ground into a double play his day so far. First pitch from the lefty. He'll be fouled out and over our heads. And I did some research there on the side. It's been almost exactly a year. It was the June 30th, July 1st road trip for the Brantford Red Sox in 2024 that they last got 2 consecutive wins. Been almost a year exactly. That one right down Main Street, but just barely too high. Steve Knight will make that count 1-1.
Well, if they keep getting pitching like they've gotten this weekend, then more of that is going to happen. Connor Irvine pitched an absolute gem yesterday. And Pedro de los Santos came in with 2 clean relief innings as well. And Armitage throwing 6 shutout innings today. Things are really looking pretty good for this Brantford team. Like I say, the record I don't think is indicative of the talent level and the abilities. It's just, like I said, they haven't just quite put it all together. 2 things. Number one, when you got a bunch of new guys, it's tough to really have it all come together. So It's going to take a few games for them to gel a little bit, find a batting order that works. There seems to be varying opinions on who's going to bat leadoff. Sometimes it's Paulus, who's a very good hitter. Sometimes it's Takioka, who is a very good guy getting on base and an absolute terror on the bases. So little things like that, shoring up the defense, which has been really good all weekend long, and I hope I'm not cursing him by saying that. But
Bateman, that one sent foul on a 3-2 full count here. Again, Cade Cabral retired his first batter and a 4-pitch strikeout.
He's a good-looking lefty. He throws hard. It's a nice live fastball. He got Takioka on a high and tight fastball. And, of course, we noted earlier that Takioka likes to go right up on top of the plate there, so a really good location.
Wide off the plate. Bateman will get the walk, and he's on base for the first time today is the all-important number 3 hitter, Lucas Bateman. Will get the walk off Cabral as we welcome Christian Ortega back to the offensive side of the ballgame.
And Bateman is a guy who's really impressed me today as well. I've talked a couple of times about his range defensively and how he, got that bit of bad luck on the bad hop. But he's putting together some good at-bats. He runs well. He doesn't really look like a guy who runs really well, but he sure does. And so a good-looking ball player for Brantford.
Bateman now on first. What can Ortega do? That one's going to be a wild pitch through the legs of Ibarra. Advances, does Bateman? That's exactly what he'll do. Now on second base, and we'll give Cade Cabral something a little bit more to work to look at there.
Well, frame that one. It's the fact that a ball got past Junior Ibarra.
Yeah, he's been relatively steadfast today and just making the easy plays. His back catch hasn't really had a chance to test his pop time, but I know that was something you talked about. His arm hasn't really quite come into play with these Brantford base runners. They've kind of just been content to let the offense come to them, and it has 1-1 now.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't run much on him, and part of that is because they just seem to have that kind of philosophy, and part of it is also the reputation that Ibarra has picked up over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, both teams clearly looking at the scouting report the way they've played today. That one will high and over the head almost of Junior Ibarra. 2-1.
One name that IBL fans will remember is Raul Gonzalez, who spent 2 years with Kitchener playing shortstop, was second, I believe, in MVP voting in 23. And he had a great rapport with Ibarra, and they pulled off a lot of back picks and pickoff plays at second base together. This is still a new connection. It's a new middle of the infield for Kitchener, and so same thing as we were talking about for Brantford gelling. Kitchener is probably going to head that direction as well. They've had a lot of overturn. The real interesting thing, I think, about both of these teams, they're the 2 teams with the new ownership, new direction, new everything, right? Everything's new. And
ball 4, that's a walk there for Christian Ortega.
So a lot of positive energy coming out of both camps here today. I when I found out I was going to be doing this game, I thought, well, this is really interesting because of the fact that both of these teams were kind of the last 2 almost old school ownership groups. Right. Welland sold Barry's in solid ground. Hamilton sold, 3 years ago. Yeah. So there's been a lot of ownership change over the last few years. And so, Kitchener was a not-for-profit model up until this year.
That one sent past the shortstop. Here comes the base runner all the way around. Bateman will score. That one's going to go wild as well for Ibarra. Another base runner to third, to second. A wild piece, a couple potential fielding mistakes there. And Brantford finds themselves on third, second, and the run will score for Bateman. Watt over the head there of the shortstop just bounced past him, and then I don't know if you can break that down, Brian, because a lot went on there in the field.
Well, there's something that I'm thinking about right now that I'm wondering nobody's saying anything about, because the fact that the ball came over and hit the bats on the backstop should kill the ball and consider that to be out of play, which would be 2 bases from the time of the throw. So to be honest with you, I'm wondering why nobody's mentioning that. And maybe I'm missing something here, but maybe the ground rules are that if it hits a bat, it's not out of play. But in most parks, if a ball hits a bat like that, that's out of play, and it should be 2 bases from the time of the throw.
And that's not a Brantford thing. Both teams have placed their bats there, so it's a great thing to point out there. I wish we had a phone for you down to the Brantford bench. All right, runners on third.
I'm going to ask
second.
about that after the game, to be honest with you.
That's a great point. All right. Big swing and a miss, and this is, I believe, a substitute hitter here for Nick Burdett. I believe it's Graham Tebbett, but I don't want to speak too early. 1-1 here. We'll get an ID on him momentarily. That one a little bit wide and off the plate. Cade Caval, ball 2, 2-1 here. I believe it is Graham Tebbett, and he'll hit in replacement for Mr. Nick Burdett, and that would track because Tebbett's done a little bit of first base throughout his IBL tenure. That one well hit, right in the gap between center and right.
Easy.
Center fielder gets under it. He does make the play, but that will bring the runners forward. One will score, one will move up to third. I thought with the wind that might track a little bit more towards the warning track, but the center fielder at least keeps it to 1 run.
A nice piece of hitting there, to be honest with you. He took a high outside pitch, hit it where it was pitched, got it up in the air, got a fly ball, and he made the outfielder run to the side where he couldn't circle in behind it, so it was an easy run scored there. So whether I am correct or not in my assessment, that thrown ball hitting a bat is now at this point irrelevant because they scored the run anyway. Having said that, if they were to get the 2 bases, that is the 6th run that would have come in on that fly ball instead of the 5th one. So
that one chopped right by the pitcher, and the second baseman will make a play on it.
That is the 3rd time now that Towers has gone in behind second base and unable to make a throw. Absolutely no chance. So that is great clutch situational hitting from Brantford. All those runs that they weren't scoring early on in the game are coming in now, and that makes things a lot more comfortable going into the 8th inning with the meat of the order coming up for Kitchener.
Well, happy Father's Day here. Brantford now 6-0 is the lead against the Kitchener Panthers, and that to confirm earlier was Graham Tebbett, who got the sac fly RBI. His dad, Dave, in attendance today, so cool to see him get an RBI in his first pinch hit appearance. And then Savage there with that, will make an appearance on first base after that blooper missed the second baseman. Some days just feel busier defensively for certain players than others. Charlie Towers out there on second base. Man, he's been busy in this one. That one well struck, very well struck. Left field, won't even try, gone. Happy Father's Day, Matt Torreson will send 2 runners home, 8-0 Brantford. As this one is ballooned, his dad's not here in person, but Matt Torreson's dad, if you're watching, your son is hitting well today. Third hit in this one, 4th time on base. Torreson, he has spent little time on that bench once he's up at the plate. 8-0 here for the Brantford Red Sox.
And I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera or not, but that has sent many Kitchener Panther fans scurrying to the exit. A great crowd here today, as I mentioned earlier. Boy, I tell you, what a nice piece of hitting that was. He had a hanging, breaking ball and just destroyed it.
Well, Highway 24 is going to be a little bit busier for a while, as the Kitchener Panthers, much of their road crowd will find their way home, as the Brantford Red Sox, this is what you like to see if you're a Brantford fan at home. Your team's really had control the entire way, and now it's going to be Max Schmarter up again. I just mentioned it, Tebbett, his dad not in attendance. Schmarter's is. I would love to see one of these guys with their dad watching here for Father's Day get a big hit, and nobody in front of him. But it is now 2-1. Hitters count for Schmarter.
You know what? I think in the big picture here, this is a good opportunity for Schmarter to come in a low leverage, low pressure situation and just focus on having a good at bat here.
Oh, 3-0, they changed the count. That one will be the first strike, so 3-1 now for Schmarter. So the home run for Torreson will make him an even 4 for 4 on the day. Big swing, big miss. Full count now. As Cavall, since he came in, just never really seemed to quite have a handle on this one. He'll try to get out of the inning, though. That one inside and on the hands. Schmarter will walk for the 5th time on his season. He had a strikeout earlier, evens it out a little bit with a walk.
Good at bat there. He laid off a couple of tight pitches. Had a good hack at the 3-1 high fastball. Those are little things you build on moving forward through the season, right? Like I say, we're only at the quarter pool, basically 11 games into or 13 games into a 42-game season. So
that one going to go ball 1 for Paulos, and pretty good problem to have here as a play-by-play guy that scores the game. I'm about to have to run back through my order here in the very same inning. That's a problem I will admit I haven't had thus far doing a home game. Glad to see it today. That one going to go by as a strike to make Paulos' count 1-1.
Well, it's time to start highlighting a bit of a rough week for the Panthers. They got absolutely, what's the most polite way to say it? They got embarrassed at home Thursday night. I think it was 10-0 before the 3rd inning was over, to be honest with you, and then went up Friday night to London, probably my favorite park in the IBL, and got spanked pretty good there, 8-1, and now they're down 8-0 here. So some quick math says 39-3 this week. After shutting out Guelph last weekend. They had two wins last week against Guelph. Seems like everybody's beating Guelph these days.
Yeah, unfortunately so if you're a fan of the Royals. 1-2 count here. Paulos will foul that one off again as well. And this will, so currently 8-0 ball game. If this holds, this will make both teams at an even 70 runs scored here on the season. 62 coming in today for Brantford. Kitchener had 70. The defense has really been the problem for the Red Sox, but the Panthers actually will have allowed more runs. So it'll be 70 runs for, 103 against for the Panthers, 74, 102 against for Brantford.
Right. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, that's 40 runs they've given up this week alone. So there's a little bit of bleeding that needs to be stopped in Pantherland, and Yadi Martinez is a good pitcher. But
Paulos sends that one in the hole between shortstop and third. Another on base for Ethan Paulos, his 2nd of the day, and they just cannot end this inning. The Brantford Red Sox keeping this what has been a short ball game to this point, starting to lengthen it out a little bit here in the 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. The first 7 innings or so were played, the first 6 innings were played in about 2 hours, but We've was this the 10th batter to the plate this
That's
inning?
right, yeah. 4:21 here, 2 hours, 21 minutes into this one. Started a little bit late, too, for Father's Day.
Right, because it was Takioka who started off with the strikeout.
That's right, and he'll get another chance. I bet he's surprised that he's making another appearance.
Well, clearly whatever was ailing him is not bothering him now, because you would think even now at 8-0, if there was something that was bothering him, they'd probably bring somebody in for him.
Especially hitting once again in such quick succession. That one wide off the plate, nowhere close. And poor kid Caval here now finds himself in a 2-0 hole, 2 runners on base.
And there's nobody up in the Kitchener bullpen, so I don't know if they're hoping to use anybody else today.
That one does find the zone. Finally gets himself a strike, 2-1.
But at some point in time, they're going to have to start thinking about bringing in another pitcher. I mean, you can't just leave this poor guy out there to get hammered all afternoon.
Oh, had to duck. Takioka, not a tall guy, but that one was going to catch him upstairs in the head. 3-1 as he avoids that. And Bateman looks like he may very well get another chance. He walked in his first time this inning. Might get back through. 3-1. There's the walk. Takioka will walk his bat over, and base is loaded here for Cade Caval. And Lucas Bateman, welcome back. 5th appearance today, and another guy that I don't think he thought he'd be hitting again in the 7th, but I'm sure glad he is.
Like I say, there's a lot of pitches being thrown by Cabral this inning, so.
Yeah, 4 walks, 1 home run allowed a sack RBI, so that's 3 ribeyes total in the inning. Did have that 1 strike to open it up, like you said, against Takioka, but since then it's just the wheels have fallen off the wagon, and I almost don't like to see the Panthers with the empty bullpen. You know, I understand a guy, you know, once the game kind of gets out of hand, just let it run through, but it's the worst place to be in the ballpark.
Oh, absolutely, and then you add to the fact that this isn't the bottom of the 8th, this is the 7th, so there's another inning for him to pitch there. So I don't know if I'd be surprised to hear he hasn't thrown 35, 40 pitches this inning.
The 1-0. That one shot back foul for Bateman. I'll hit it the netting and come down. So Christian Ortega as well will make his second appearance in the batter's circle. He also walked earlier in the 7th. Glad the dad's here in attendance. The Brantford Red Sox fathers here for Father's Day there. They are getting their, I was going to say their money's worth, but reverse tariff season here for the Brantford Red Sox. So getting their punctuality's worth as they were here early for the photo opportunity before the game. Now 1-2 for Bateman.
Absolutely. Certainly getting a lot of entertainment out of their sons today, that's for sure.
Alrighty, the 1-2. This could end the 7th. It won't. Over the head, the pitcher doing a great job to get out of the way, but runner will score. Second will come around. Double digits on the scoreboard. The Brantford Red Sox now lead 10-0 with the RBI single for Lucas Bateman. Hadn't been on base at all prior to the 7th. He's now been on base twice, once with a walk, once with an RBI single. And here comes Christian Ortega.
And mercifully, looks like there's some action going on in the Kitchener bullpen. This is going to be a nice slow walk by the Kitchener manager out to the mound here just to try and buy some time. 62, I think, warming up in the bullpen.
Well, Brian, I think you're a good luck charm. You got to come around to more of these.
I didn't want to say anything. You know what I mean? There's still a long ways to go in this game, but, you know.
This is a different team than I've seen today. So awesome job. They've been good at home. We've talked about a team that they're better than their record would suggest, and no more that has been no more evident than these home games that have so often started out with big leads, gone back the other way.
Yep.
Don't want to jinx it. You can never take it for granted, but up 10-0 now.
Well, and keep in mind, too, Tuesday night, they were up 8-6 in the 9th. They could have easily won that game with a clean 9th inning. An error made there in the infield prolonged that inning decidedly. There were a lot of earned runs in that inning.
New pitcher will make his appearance. That one's going to go high and wide for ball 1. That one right down Main Street. And to correct, it's still Caval in right now for the Kitchener Panthers bullpen. There is another hitter, or another pitcher, I should say, warming up. should they be needed, which right now, the bottom of the 7th, still going.
Well, like I say, we're up over 40 pitches this inning for sure. And that's, you get into the red zone there.
Is that half a start already? He's coming out of the bullpen in 1 inning.
Well, actually, for me, it's a health issue, to be quite honest. 40 pitches in an inning is really hard on the shoulder.
Good weather for him, luckily. Conditions aren't terrible, but, not the most favorable. Pete Kiefer really making him earn his trip back to the dugout. And this one now 3-1. That one's high. That's a ball.
And this is the 13th hitter of the inning up. If my math is correct, it's
Yeah, how often do you see a hitter get 2 walks in 1 inning? Christian Ortega just did it.
So
Cassidy Watt's back, ladies and gentlemen. He doubled to put himself in position to score a run earlier in this very inning. Those of you that maybe stepped away for a Father's Day festivity came back here on IBL Brantford Red Sox YouTube. The scoreboard's not wrong. It is still the bottom of the 7th. Ooh. That one inside, but almost caught Cassidy Watt. He's telling the umpire, I actually did think it hit him inside on the rib, but at this point, I think Cassidy Watt's maybe doing the reliever a favor.
Well, sometimes also, when you get up in this situation here, you don't want to hit by pitch. You want to swing the bat. But from a safety standpoint and from a reality standpoint.
That one sent off towards the third base line. Third baseman will bounce over. It gets on the glove, comes back off. 1 scores. Takioka's in. Another scores. Bateman's in. 2 bags for Cassidy Watt. We just talked about the two walks for Ortega. Second double of the inning for Cassidy Watt. Once again, an RBI.
Well, I'm looking for a mercy pull here, to be honest.
We're not seeing it yet. No movement here. Manager Pete Kiefer's going to stay in there. And Graham Tebbett's back. We talked about his father being in attendance to watch that sac fly RBI earlier in this inning. He'll get another chance to make it a proper hit as the Red Sox now up 12-0. That one tipped foul there by Tebbett. His father Dave here to watch him. So the last recorded out was Tebbett last time through the lineup, was his sac fly. That was the second out of the inning.
Just batted around without an out there. So
Tebbett, that one hit, popped over the head potentially of the second baseman. He will settle under it. Inning's over. But Brantford fans, how do you like that? 12-0. Now the Red Sox lead over the Panthers on a Father's Day Sunday outing that saw us go through 14 batters in the bottom of the 7th. I mean, Brian, I bet you didn't come into today thinking you'd see an inning like that.
9 runs on 6 hits in 1 inning, and I tell you, that's one of the things that we love about the game of baseball is that every time you go to the park, you likely see something you never saw before. So at the end of the day, that great situational hitting by Brantford, which is exactly what we've been harping about all day long. And like I said, I hopefully we'll get a new pitcher in for Kitchener there. That's probably enough for him for one day. Great job by Klepper to keep it close, to keep the Panthers down to a 0 in the 6th and the 7th. And now, one more inning out of him, and then probably they'll go to somebody to come in the 9th and mop things up. But this has just been a great ball game played all the way around by the Brantford Red Sox. As I mentioned earlier, you just want to get a little bit better every day. Some guys have had some good at-bats that they're working on. Good defense, good pitching. What more could you ask for as a Brantford Red Sox fan?
When you remarked earlier on, back when it was 3-0, that it felt more like a 5-0 ball game the way they'd hit thus far. And now it's 12-0. I mean, we've talked about how often the effort here for the Brantford Red Sox hasn't translated to the final score. I think today it either has, or I would argue with how long we had a reliever out there for the Panthers. He never really seemed to find his stride. Maybe now it should be more like 7 or 8-0. But you think about the offensive performances the last 3 games for the Red Sox. It was a 14-8 loss on the road against Toronto. In Brantford against Toronto. That was the one Carlos Verde called the other day, and he talked about, the Red Sox, once they lost it in the bullpen, that was another one that just got away. It's kind of similar to what we saw. Maybe the scoreboard a little bit overzealous with that final gap. But 8 runs in that one in the loss, then an 8-6 loss in Barrie against the Baycats on Thursday, another 6-run performance there, and then 5 in that win against the Guelph Royals. So you put it back-to-back in 4 games, 8 runs, 6 runs, 5 runs, and 12 runs by the Brantford offense. You'd be surprised to know that team's 1-3 in those games.
Right, and so suddenly you're looking at
2-2, I should say.
yes,
Potentially.
You know what I mean? And could easily have gone 3-1 this week.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you're serving notice to the rest of the league that Brantford is not a pushover. This ain't, what's that old line? These ain't your daddy's Red Sox. This is a new team with a new attitude, the team that can hit. They've got some pitching. There have been a lot of changes, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of good things going on with this team right now. There's a good crowd here. There's a good atmosphere. You know, it's all good right now. It's all good, to be honest with you, and that's what you need to start working towards. And as long as they keep playing good defense and having good pitching like they've been getting this weekend specifically, you know, when you
Popped up. Second baseman Bateman should get under it. That'll actually go to the center fielder. Paulos will be the one to settle under it. Either way, that's a quick out to Jordan Mondelez. He'll pop out.
Yeah, you always want the outfielder to call off the infielder there. He's coming in on the ball. And so, and this is 2, 3, 4 in the order up for Kitchener. So they, you know, I thought it was a smart move by Tyler Susie to change the pitcher so that the top of the Kitchener order didn't get a third look at Armitage, because that slider is a really good one. But you start laying off that and feed off the fastball, these guys can all hit the fastball. So
Yusvani Penalve back up to bat here for his 4th time today. I don't think his butt's probably kind of sore. He was probably sitting on the bench there quite a while on the bottom of the 7th. He'll come up today having singled in the 3rd, ground out in the 6th, and he started his day off with a strikeout to Armitage. So new pitcher here for Penalve, and again, he's a guy hitting exceptionally well, almost 400. That may drop today as that one's wide off the plate for ball 2.
you could just see Penalve's swing is just mechanically wonderful. It's just all one piece. The bat stays a long time in the hitting zone. Good timing.
Still the fireballing righty Colby Klepper in this one, and that'll just find the bottom of the zone for strike 1, 2-1 now. Junior Ibarra back up. He'll make his 4th appearance today as he's in the batter's circle. And then we may see Nick Kairos after that, should his services be needed. That one will be chopped towards Lucas Bateman on second. Easy play. Penalve legs it out, but that's another quick out. Bateman had that one bobble go over his head earlier today. Since then, he's had a couple that looked like they may go by him, but he's locked it down. He's playing well today.
No, a gravy hop and a nice backhand play there. You know, mechanically, you like to see a player circle the ball and play the ball between his feet, but very smooth handling on the backhand, played it out in front of his feet. Mechanically solid there. Very nice.
2 outs for your man, Junior Ibarra. That one low. Klepper's going to test his swing discipline there. Decides not to go around. 1-0.
So, yeah, what a story this guy is, to be honest with you. First of all, what is a class act, a nice guy. He spoke almost no English when I met him. Ironically, I met him here for the first time that they played. We were in Brantford to play them here. And, you know, this is Junior, this is Raul, and about all they knew was hi. But he went right to work. By the end of the season, he could speak pretty good English. A couple of the other fellas hardly still. I mean, Raul, it was one of the best players I've ever seen. But he
chopped to Schmarter. Schmarter will go by him. I thought he had an easy glove on it. Did go by, and Takioka will throw that one in. And on base is Junior Ibarra for the first time today. Did walk in the 6th, but his first time with a hit.
Yeah, unfortunately, we let the ball play us instead of playing the ball, and it kind of ate him up there on the in-between hop. But just to finish the thought on Ibarra, he has a wife and 2 daughters, who I think are 6 and 3 right now. And I think we're going to have nobody's out coaching first base for Kitchener. Anyways, he came down for the season and then never went back home afterwards, and has been living up here for a couple of years. The way it works in Cuba is that you when you leave Cuba, you don't go back. You're not allowed back in the country.
Right.
And so he hasn't seen his daughters in, I think it's almost 2 calendar years.
Wow.
And so now he's going through the paperwork of trying to get his family up here to Canada. And so, you know, we just wish him well. Like I say, I know that my kids are grown, and I have trouble going a full week without seeing them, and he hasn't been able to hold them for 2 years now, and that must really break him up. But at the end of the day, he's staying up here because he's living a better life and wants a better life for himself and his family. So it's a kind of a long-term investment for him. And so I just want to give him a shout-out for what he's trying to do, and hope that at some point in the very near future, Junior can get his family up here and be reunited with them.
Well, as Nico Kairos now faces a 1-1, I think I speak for all of us here with Brantford when we say, yeah, we wish him the very best of luck, because Kairos is going to send that one over into the gap in between the center and the right fielder. That one comes down. Might be a run on the board for the Panthers. Will he get the green light? The hitter will come around. Here he comes to the plate. Run scores. The Panthers are on the board. They'll make the score a little bit closer. 12-1 now as Nico Kairos puts that one in the gap between center and right. Won't go for third. He'll end up on second, but that is a double. His first hit of the day.
Well, that was impressive. That was a borderline inside-out swing. It was an inside pitch that he took the other way into the gap and still hit it 375 feet. That's pretty impressive swing by Kairos, man. That's a nice piece of hitting right there.
I mean, if you're a Barra, we talked about his story. Tough day today as well. Think it's Father's Day. Just thinking about that now. That's one for him. That
yeah, this is probably tough on him going through a Father's Day where once again you can't see your kids. And like I said, mine are 30 years old, and I have trouble going a week without seeing them. So how, I know he talks to them a lot, FaceTime and all that fun stuff, but he's just trying to make a better life for himself and his family. And, I work with a girl from Cuba, and it took her about 5 years to get her husband up here to join her finally. So hopefully it takes less time than that. We wish the best for Junior.
That one low does find the zone, though. Steve Knight will give it to him, and good on Ibarra being the only run then scored today for the Panthers. He came in on that last one by Kairos. This is Klaus Appelvik up for the 4th time today. He's looking at a 1-1, flew out, grounded out, and struck out. Is his pleasure.
I think it was I'm pretty sure we had a pinch runner there. So
big swing.
He probably was happy he didn't have to make the dash from first to home. Catchers, that's not a big thing. I was a catcher back in my day. I never really liked running from first to home either.
Klaus Appelvik now looking at a 1-2. Klepper's done a great job keeping the pressure on in this inning. His 3rd of the game. Claps here for the Brantford crowd. Low and in the dirt. It's going to be an even 2-2 count. So looking up what's next on the schedule for the Panthers. They'll take another trip on this 3-game road stand on Wednesday. They head to Toronto, take on the Maple Leafs. That one starting at 7:30 p.m. Then a home game on Thursday. They're back at home against the Cardinals. The 2-2. Swings, chops it over to third base. Can Savage make the play on it?
Safe.
Yes, he can. Out at first is Appelvik. And the Brantford Red Sox will bring this one to the bottom of the 8th. An inning I'm sure they'll be relatively passé about before one more defensive inning could end this game.
Boy, that was a real banger at first there. Brantford able to get the call, especially with the score like it is.
All right, well,
when I put on my umpire's hat, I say to myself, if it's a banger at first in a 12-1 game, he is out. Oh, free pizza down there. What are our chances, Marshall, getting some free pizza?
Well, we'll take a break one more time today. Let's hear from our partners one more time. We'll be back for the bottom of the 8th here at Arnold Anderson as the Brantford Red Sox lead the Kitchener Panthers 12-1. And welcome back, and happy Father's Day, everybody watching live on IBL Brantford Red Sox YouTube. You've tuned in at the perfect time if you're just joining us in the bottom of the 8th for this one, as the Brantford Red Sox in front of the Fathers and everybody watching here live from Arnold Anderson have opened up a 12-1 lead against the Kitchener Panthers. Did most of that damage in the bottom of the 7th. 14 at-bats in that bottom of the 7th inning there, and Brian, we find ourselves in the bottom of the 8th. We'll see a new arm. Finally, Cade Caval from the 7th inning, who unfortunately was relatively shell-shocked there by that Brantford offense. He's been replaced. Number 62 will come in. We'll get an idea on him. And the offense, you got to think, a lot lower leverage in this one than it was previously in the game.
Yeah, this is Dakota Parsons coming in now for Kitchener. I know a little bit about him. He throws pretty hard. He's got a nice curveball, pretty good changeup. Change of catchers as well. Junior Ibarra gets the rest of the day off. And so, at this point, Brantford's just playing out the string here, and a couple guys trying to have a – ooh, that went right through the backstop. Free baseball for someone down there.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky fan here in Brantford will get a ball
pocket.
that wow.
Oh, they want it back.
They do. Rarely does a ball find its way through such a small hole in the fence, but
that's
nice trick shot there from Andrew Savage.
We'll have to get out the tie wraps and tie that little spot right off there.
So Savage's day, as talked about baseball rhyming sometimes. Strikeout, strikeout, single, single. The day so far for Savage. He's got Torres and Schmarter on deck after that. Oh, inside, almost
Boy,
on
he
the
stood
hands.
right in there, didn't he? He didn't flinch one little bit.
That's an HBP if Takioka's in the box there.
Yeah, no doubt. So a pretty good weekend thus far, 5 for 8 for his first weekend in the league for Savage. Nice start to your career.
Here's the 2-1.
Nice pitch there.
Right down the middle for 2-2.
It's a great way to start your career off for Savage. Just get 8 or 9 at bats in the first weekend and get your feet wet. Played catcher. Played a game at third base.
Parsons, some good power there. That one going to be sent right at the third baseman. Makes the play. Nice throw to first base.
Nice gravy hop there for Fuji. And good strong throw across the diamond.
Here comes Matt Torreson.
First baseman, number 27, Matt Torreson.
Matt Torreson's only been on base today. Remember, he homered in that big 2-run home run that really broke the 7th inning open last inning. But he had an error that scored him on first in the second, a double in the fourth, a single in the sixth, a homer in the 7th. If he does another, just anything here in this ninth,
Need
this
a
might
triple,
be
right? Need a triple for the cycle?
He does. That's a great point. Yeah, potentially a threat for the cycle here. Torres and speedy enough to get a triple should he get the chance.
Well, we're looking for a pitch that is up and on the outside, so he can bang one out there at the domino sign in right center field, and turn on the jet, see if he can stretch it into 3.
That one low and in the dirt. Parsons going to make that one 1-1. And here's a question. I know there's a lot of famous, baseball has a lot of famous achievements, a lot of famous accolades to aim for. Do you think right now Torreson is well aware he is a triple away?
Oh, 100%. I can't think of any hitter who didn't know that he was one hit away from the cycle. They are so rare that you can bet that, in fact, I'd be surprised if there wasn't a conversation about that on the bench saying, hey, you know what you need.
2-1. Parsons out.
Well, that's not going to get a triple.
Yeah, it'll be dropped right at the second baseman.
But a heck of a day for Torreson for sure. 4 hits, I believe you said, and just another guy who's had a real great weekend. And again, as I referred to earlier in the game, a real good opportunity for Schmarter to keep working out the kinks in his swing right here, trying to get himself where he wants to be offensively. Sometimes the only concerning thing about a slump when you got a defensive guy is it's easy to carry that out on the field with you because it weighs, on a ball player. Slumps weigh on a player. They really do. Even the most mentally strong and disciplined players, slumps wear on you.
And that carries over, you think, to the defensive side?
It does sometimes.
Well, Schmarter fouled that first one back. That's going to be 0-1 as the ball boy will figure out where the next baseball is coming from.
Well, just get him to sneak inside the dugout. I feel a lot better about life. At least he's got a helmet on anyways.
The 0-1. That one popped up out towards right field.
That's deep. That's real
That
deep.
is deep. That one's carrying on the warning track, but he turned a couple times, but the right fielder, Kairos, will make the play on that. As the Brantford offense, they tickled the pitcher a little bit. Maybe thought he had a chance at another run. Did a couple of those hitters, particularly Matt Torreson. But here comes the top of the ninth, the final inning on defense here. And if you're the Brantford Red Sox, You're going to be excited if you can hold this one off for the win, but you're going to be extra excited if you can keep a lead that big, because we really haven't seen a blowout Brantford win in a long time.
Well, we've got a new arm coming in there. I can't see who it is just yet, but at the end of the day, I just want to go back to Schmarter there. That's a really good AB there. That's a deep fly ball on an outside pitch that he took the other way. Generally speaking, generally speaking is that you can see a pitcher or a hitter starting to come out of a slump when they're hitting the ball hard and hitting the ball well the other way. So, like I said, it's just something he's got to keep working towards. And so that'll be encouraging for him, knowing he had a couple of good ABs today, even though it didn't really translate into a whole lot of hits. So at the end of the day, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff all around for the Brantford Red Sox today.
All right, new arm coming in to close the game for the Red Sox. At number 10, I believe, on the jersey. Just waiting to get an ID on here. Defense going to remain mostly the same as what you've seen. Remember, we did have that substitution earlier on. That was Tebbett who came in for Burdett. So Graham Tebbett will take up first base duties on defense. And looking around this one off with a big win is Brantford. And as I talked about, the last back-to-back Brantford winning streak of 2 games, both on the road, was last year, June 30th and July 1st, 2024.
Wow.
Your attention, please. Now pitching for the Red Sox, number 10, Leandro Mejia.
Leandro Mejia coming in to close this one out for the Brantford Red Sox. The righty's throwing some pretty good stuff. Struggling with location a little bit here in the warm-up, but he's got a long leash to work with here. 11-run lead currently for his
it's a good time to just work on some stuff. Looks like he throws a 2-seamer. We'll see how much movement's on it. That's pretty good. I think, Marshall, if my eyes don't deceive me, I think they moved Torreson in from right field to play first.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Yep, so number 27 will come in at the first base position. Torreson will try to round this one off in a position that will have a little bit more relevance. You got to think, at least if Mejia can get some balls on the ground.
Second baseman, number 11, A.J. Carrozas.
So A.J. Carrozas going to come in to replace Charlie Towers. Going to pinch hit here in the late stages of this one.
He's a nice-looking player, too. He played for me with the Kitchener Juniors a couple of years ago. I took over them for a little while when I was coaching them to the elimination tournament, and A.J. played third base for us that weekend. Good-looking swing, bit of an odd kind of a setup, but he's got a good level swing, spends a lot of time in the hitting zone, generates a lot of power for a guy who's not real big, and translates into playing second base at this level.
Yeah, if you're Brantford, you want some offensive upside, especially with the power, if you want to get this lead closed down. Big swing and a miss there, and Mejia brings this one even.
Well, Mejia's a big dude, big, long-legged bugger. He throws hard, and tough to pick the ball up with that. He's kind of a little bit of a herky-jerky delivery.
Really stiff back, stiff shoulder, stiff elbow. It is a really interesting stance. 1-1 here. Mejia.
It's not really something you teach, but, I mean, you having said that, you don't want to create, when you're teaching hitting, you don't want to create robots there. A guy's got to have his own style. There are certain principles that have to be adhered to when you hit. Keeping the weight back, quiet on the swing, and that's one thing that he is. He's really quiet on the swing.
That one sent right at Schmarter. What a catch! He finally gets a jumping catch to follow through. He had a couple that would get off the glove, fall short, fall down, and that time got the whole play together. What a catch by Schmarter.
Great play there. Like I say, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter a whole lot what he does at the plate when he's playing defense like that. You're encouraged by a couple of the at-bats that he had. We have another pinch hitter coming up here. Parsons. Yep, Parsons played for me a couple years as well. This guy is what I like to call a professional hitter. This guy has a lot of pop in his bat. He's a quiet swing as well, but generates a ton of power.
Here goes Parsons against Mejia. That one chopped right at the first baseman. Narrowly an easier play than that for Torreson, although Schmarter, another jumping attempt. That time it was to get the ball back from Torreson. Back-to-back lineouts. Here we go. One more, Brian. One more hitter up. Jamie Cabral, I believe, should come back. No, he's going to get subbed out. Number 21 is going to come in. I don't believe we've seen him so far in this one.
No, he's new hitter here. Oh, I know him.
Alrighty, well, it's Mejia. Final at bat of the game. The Brantford crowd on the edge of their seats looking to cap this one off. That one's low into the dirt. Mejia will start it off, testing him a little bit. No dice, no swing. 1-0. It's big swing and a miss. 1-1. Mejia doing a good job now to pound the zone.
That's a nice looking slider there. A lot of depth to it. When you're throwing a hard fastball that moves as much, that two-seamer that he throws, it just seems to move about 8 inches. When you come back with a slider with lots of depth, that's a nasty pitch.
He has got a big lead behind him. That one inside. Strike number 2 or 1 away. The Red Sox 12 runs. Kitchener 1. 2 outs, 2 strikes. Could this be it? And it'll take time. Well, the clapping from Brantford will have to wait.
Oldest one in the book when you're the road hitter. You just step out and then the crowd will lose its momentum.
And it'll start up again. Here we go. Mejia 1-2. The 1-2. Goes around. Over 40 games, 11 and a half months, but the Brantford Red Sox have won back-to-back games in the IBL. 12-1 on Father's Day Sunday. And a big game of action. The Kitchener Panthers will head back down 24, 11-run differential, and the Brantford Red Sox will be closed out by Mejia. It was kicked off by Armitage, and Brian, that is a statement win for the Brantford Red Sox.
Well, it's all good today, isn't it? Good pitching, good defense, timely hitting, clutch up, took advantage of a pitcher when he was on the ropes. Nothing but positive things to say. Like I said, you had some hitters who were struggling coming into this game, working on their game. You know, a guy like Schmarter, a couple of guys, a great game by Torreson who had 4 hits. Watt had a couple of doubles. Lots of action going on. Paulus had a nice game as well. I tell you what, man. Like I say, these ain't your daddy's Red Sox. This is a solid team, and everybody needs to know when they're playing this team that you better bring your A game or you're going to have a lot of trouble handling these guys.
Well, with that, the Kitchener Panthers will head back into Toronto, I think it is, yes, Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. So this evening, if you're a Kitchener fan, you'll have another night of road action watching the Toronto quality broadcast out there. They do great work there on their YouTube side. And they'll head over to that game now 5-8. I believe 4 straight losses now for the Kitchener Panthers.
Yeah, I believe both these teams, their next game's against Toronto, aren't they?
You're absolutely right. Yeah, then it's Brantford back here, right here on IBL Brantford Red Sox TV this Friday. That's the next Brantford home effort. It will be live here again on IBL Brantford Red Sox YouTube as the Toronto Maple Leafs will come off a game that we'll see what that looks like. I'll be watching that one on the road again on that Maple Leafs broadcast on Wednesday, and they'll do so as a 3-11 ball club. Seeing whatever result happens for the Panthers, they may bring it to 6. They may bring their loss column to 8. But Brian, it's been a pleasure having you today. You saw a full, crazy up and down roller coaster game of baseball. Wasn't too high scoring at the end. Then that Brantford offense had its best inning of the entire season. I'm glad you could join me for it today. And what was your big takeaway from a former coach's perspective watching this one?
Well, first of all, the pitching. I mean, I love good pitching. I'm a pitching and defense guy. I love to see good pitching. I especially love to see good defense played behind that good pitching. And that's what the Red Sox got today, and that's what makes a good ball club. Even if you're not hitting, even if you're not executing bunts, what have you, when you pitch well and you play good defense, you are in every game. You are a big pain in the butt to play against when you pitch well and play good defense. And that's what's really important in baseball. Every single baseball team that pitches well and plays good defense is a tough team to beat. So, that's what my real takeaway is here. When you have a team that plays well like they're playing what I call good baseball, and those 5 things in the good baseball: good pitching, good defense, timely hitting, good base running, and in-game adjustments. And all 5 of those were evident today in the game of the Brantford Red Sox. So they're taking advantage of 2 teams Guelph yesterday and Kitchener today who are a little bit slumpy.
Right.
And that's also what good teams do. You identify teams that are in not a really good spot, and you put it to them. And they outscored those two teams, if my memory serves me, about 17-2.
Yep.
So, you know, like I said, it's time to get excited about a new generation of Brantford Red Sox here with the new ownership, a bunch of new players coming in. You know, we'll see if they bring in a full-time manager to handle their day-to-day stuff or whether Tyler's going to do it. I have no idea. You know, I never spoken to ownership about what they're going to do. They got a crack play-by-play guy up in the booth taking care of the business. You know, it's a lot of fun, right? It's a lot of fun to be part of this, and I'm just, you know, I'm happy and pleased as punch that I was invited up to come and get my feet wet. And, you know, I've done a lot of hockey over the years. I'm an old baseball guy. Over the last 4 years, I called a lot of hockey. This was my first baseball game, and so I want to thank the Red Sox organization and you specifically, Marshall, for making me welcome and making me real comfortable and just helping me assimilate and get my feet wet.
Well, since my days finally joining the professional media world coming out of school, you were my first opportunity to hire my own color guy, and I would say I'm 1 for 1. I like many of the Brantford hitters today. I'm very glad you joined me today, Brian.
I'm very happy to do so.
Thank you for making the trip. Thank you for taking time out of your Father's Day. Same to all my crew as well. I want to quickly thank right next to me, we got Ryan directing today. He did an exceptional job. I hope you guys all had a great time spending your Sunday evening. Maybe your dad was watching with you. Maybe you were solo, whoever you were. I hope you enjoyed a great day of Brantford Red Sox baseball and their first real big win of the season here at home. I want to thank my entire crew, and I also want to thank my own dad, Marshall Crocker Sr., for watching me today. Again, he and I have plans. Got to make the drive back towards the Tri-Cities to have our Father's Day festivities. And we want to thank all the dads here who came out live to watch their sons, to watch their very own Brantford Red Sox players, all of whom had great days. If anybody I see on the list that was here and had their dad watching, then they were all exceptional, and I'm really glad to see that. So thank you, Brantford fans, for joining us. We hope to see a long string of games like this one. We hope this is the start of something different. Back-to-back wins for the Red Sox. Again, they'll try to make it 3 in a row. Back here live, 7:15 the start time. Remember, the start times have been moved up from 8 to 7:15 the rest of the way for Brantford. That'll be Friday night's action against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Until then, enjoy your Father's Day. Enjoy your Sunday. We'll see you back very soon. I'm Marshall Crocker for Brian Hawley and my entire crew here for the Brantford Red Sox. Have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy your Father's Day, and we'll see you very soon.